Hello everyone and welcome to day 49 of chess training. As you can see, we have an extra face on the screen, which is my friend Nikola. And yeah, Nikola, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone who's watching?
Hello everyone, my name is Nikola Nikolovski, I'm from Macedonia, and I have known Michael for years already. He's a very good friend of mine, and I guess today we'll analyze his games.
Exactly. Okay, so I just saw a comment from Josh saying, yeah, he's just joined, and actually, yeah, we just started the stream. So, Josh, how is the volume for Nikola? How's the volume for me? Is it does it sound all right, or do we need to make me louder, make Nikola louder? What do you think? And then we'll get into the chess.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, basically for anyone who's joining who hasn't followed the past few streams, I recently played in the British Rapidplay, and I scored 50%, which was a bit of an underperformance for me. But okay, at first, I actually told Nicola this as well. I said I was quite embarrassed to show him all of the games because we used to train together, and yeah, it's. I mean, like, yeah, given how many hours I've trained with Nicola, I should probably be not making these mistakes. But okay, we haven't trained for a long time actually, so this will be the first time in a while, which is nice. But yeah, like I thought, okay, I should take it more seriously and actually, not be afraid of like being embarrassed by these mistakes. And yeah, we should just confront them.
Of course, I mean everyone makes mistakes, so that's a normal part of chess and life in general. Well, it's a good thing to face your mistakes, and that's how you learn. That's how you progress. So it's a good thing to do this.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So, yeah, we just got feedback as well about our volume. I've just adjusted it. I think this should be fine. So yeah, guys, I'm not gonna interact with chat too much. I think I'm only gonna be the one who has access to chat, not Dekla. But yeah, we're basically just gonna
Yeah.
analyze my games. And yeah, we'll just get into it. So actually, the first thing I want to ask you, Nicola, is do you want me actually, no. Okay, I think I'll just show the moves on the right hand side, or do you think it's better that I keep them hidden? What do you think for the
I
viewers?
mean, for the viewers,
Yeah.
I guess it's better to keep them hidden if
Aha.
someone wants to guess what you played
Yeah. Exactly.
next.
Yeah.
Like that.
And yeah, I think yeah, this sounds good. So I'll just keep it like this. Okay. So yeah, let's begin. So how do you want to analyze these games? Like what should we look at? And yeah, any thoughts
Well,
already?
yeah, before we begin with the actual games and the actual chess part, can you tell me about this tournament as a whole? Like,
Hmm.
how do you satisfied with your performance? Anything you want to mention that you think may seem important
Okay,
for this
so
tournament?
yeah, sure. So when I went into the tournament, um, in the build up to it, like the weeks before it, I actually wasn't like it was a weird state of mind. I was quite peaceful about it actually. I wasn't so determined to like win the whole event. Obviously, that would be like close to impossible. Um, but just like feeling like just quite happy to just play some chess. So I thought this was actually quite a nice state of mind to be in. And actually, the day before, like I did a stream on like my tournament checklist, and I think I was in a really good mindset about it. Like just thinking about all the things that I want to optimize my conditions, like wear my favorite hoodie so I feel cozy. Like these kind
Okay.
of small things. Like I think it's useful to consider. Um, and then on the actual day when I was going to play, I mean, I started off. So I went with my friend and neighbor Caius, who's this 13-year-old kid, and his dad drove us. And okay, by the end of the journey, like I was feeling quite car sick, and the first round was starting in like 4 minutes or something. So not too much time to like rest and get in the zone. And also as the
Yeah.
day went on, like I also felt like a lot of like stress and fatigue from the play. That was my feeling. Like it wasn't so easy just to just be relaxed. Like I didn't have a lunch. There was no lunch break. It was just non-stop chess pretty much, and like I had like a game that was over 100 moves as well. So it was just like
That's a lot.
it was basically more like physically taxing than I was expecting. So um, yeah,
Okay.
maybe this influenced some of my play, especially in some of the later rounds. But yeah, in terms of the result, I scored 50%, 5.5 out of 11. And I mean, before the tournament, I mean, I was above the middle cut in terms of like my starting rating, but I knew there was a lot of underrated players as well. But I felt like I wanted to at least get 50%. This was like my kind of like goal.
Mhm.
And okay, I got 50% and I lost in the last round to a 2200. So, I mean, okay, this is also understandable as well. So, yeah, I felt like the tournament was okay. I'm not feeling like suicidal as a result of it, but okay, like, you know, I definitely think it could have been better, and yeah, still lots of room for improvement, like so much room for improvement.
Well, in general, about performance and the rankings. So for the rankings, usually the last round decides. Like everybody plays approximately to their level, and then last round decides whether, let's say, you will have a successful tournament or not.
Hmm.
Because if you win, you're on the better side of the story. Basically, if
Sure.
you lose, it doesn't go so well because you will probably have less points than expected.
Yeah.
Except if you outperform your knowledge and performance before that.
Right.
So last round really decides. Okay, rapid tournaments can be quite taxing, as you said. It's very difficult to play a lot of chess in one day. How many rounds? Like five,
Uh,
six in a day?
6 on day 1 and 5 on day 2. So 11
Mhm.
total, 15 minutes plus 10 seconds to move.
And how much hours was the total day one, let's say?
I think first round started at 10 a.m. and maybe finished at like 4 p.m. And
Mhm.
then day 2 was. Oh, no, no, no. Day 1 was later. Sorry, that was day 2. So day 2 was 10 till 4. And day 1, um, I don't remember, but I guess it was even longer, like of a day. Like maybe started
Yeah,
12 and
so
finished quite late, like 7 or something. I don't know. Can't remember.
yeah, if you're taking into account before you arrive, register, things like that, it's a full day.
Yeah, definitely a full day. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. Um, okay, we can go to the actual chess now, I think.
Sure. One more thing I want to mention, like, I actually didn't get much time to play online, like in the week, in the build up. Like, originally, I wanted to have practiced lots of rapid, maybe even some 15 plus 10 online, which I didn't get one single game. So I felt like the day before, I was kind of deciding, do I want to have a lot of practice or do I want to feel well rested? And I decided to choose the well rested as my choice, and just make sure that I've packed everything and I'm ready to go, as opposed to like play lots of chess. So maybe this could have influenced some like uh, unsharpness or something, but yeah, just thought I'd mention this as well.
Well, the main thing is to be well rested, especially for blitz and definitely for rapid also. For
Hmm.
classical, you may get away with it a little bit, but in blitz and rapid, like faster time controls in general, it that's the most important thing.
Uh huh.
Um, it's also good to be like a bit used to the time control, so playing in this case rapid games online before the tournament,
Hmm.
day or two or three, doesn't matter. That's a good idea, but the most important thing is to solve tactics. So I would
Right.
recommend before a tournament, like maybe daily, 15 to 30 minutes tactics. Like let's
Hmm.
say I really like chess tempo tactics, which are like two, three movers. And those tactics are the most often ones happening in real games.
Right.
So you get your mind into shape to perform better in the actual tournament.
Right.
Because if you don't do that, you can get a bit rusty and you won't see the tactics
Yeah. I
when
mean,
they
we're
arrive.
gonna see. I think like okay, maybe we should save the reflection till later, but just to mention that I felt like my ability to see tactics was much higher than actually seeing the tactics in the games. Like, okay, the first like 3 rounds, like I felt like my ability to see tactics was worse than a 1500, and it was like not because I can't do it, but because I just wasn't doing it. Like I just wasn't looking. Like I would just play the move without looking, and then oh, there's a fork. Whoops. Like just not even trying to look. So after the first 3 rounds, it kind of kicked in that okay, Michael, you got to step this up, and then I stepped it up, and then it was at least a bit better, at least in this regard. But okay, we'll see, we'll see. So and this is the other thing, guys. Nikola's internet has been cutting today. I think like he actually like tried to upgrade his internet for this video, but I think like doing the upgrade meant that he would cut in and out. So we had like a deal that, okay, whenever Nikola cuts, then I'll interact with chat and check any messages. So yeah, if any of you guys have any thoughts for Nikola or anything like this, like, or thoughts about the position, don't hesitate to ask, and yeah, we will. I'll try and address whatever comment you may have, and also let me know if the volume is working better now in terms of balance between me and Nikola. Hello,
Hey,
Nikola.
Michael, I'm back.
Okay, perfect. We're ready to begin. Let's go.
Okay, yeah, that's the internet issues.
Yeah, I
sometimes.
explained that too.
Okay, so round one. Okay, you can lead.
Okay, sure.
all these
So,
games.
yeah, this round one. I saw I was playing this junior girl, and yeah, she looked a little bit nervous, I have to say, at the start, and this actually gave me some confidence. So I felt like, okay, there's a chance maybe I'm playing a real 1500 and not playing like an underrated 1500. So
Yeah.
this was quite nice. And actually, yeah, this whole tournament in terms of openings for the white side, I decided that I wanted to play 1c3, which is basically something I've been working on a lot. And you will see some interesting games of this opening. But against this girl, I felt like, just from my first impressions, that I felt like if I play 1c3, you know, she might just take the big center, play very principled, maybe not get such a bad position. And I felt like maybe it's better to try and play a Reti, because maybe a Reti would add to more confusion, worse piece placement, and give me more of an advantage. So, okay, I adapted. I played knight f3, and she played knight c6. And
96.
yes, and the funny thing is that in the past I used to hate this move because I would always want to just play in my Ratty style with like g3 or c4. And the issue here is that black is basically ready to transpose to a e5 English or just play with e5, which is not really part of my Ratty philosophy or repertoire. So luckily, I have the knowledge of my 1c3, which involves a lot of 1c3 2d4, and I basically just transposed to this. I just played d4 and played this c3 move. Okay, I don't need to play c3 immediately, but I'm not looking to get like some huge advantage from the opening. I just want to make sure I'm nice and solid. And yeah, I thought like the idea between this setup is that this knight c6 move, it has two ideas in my mind. Either they want to play with e5, or they want to play like bishop f5 and play some quick attack on c2. And I feel like this configuration stops both. So that's my plan.
Yeah, that's possible. First, about the opening choice with knight f3. That sounds good, and usually as lower levels and beginners. She's not a beginner, but still. They are taught the principles, like take the center, develop the pieces. So that's why c3 would allow e5, d5. So that's a good choice probably on knight f3. And this looks like a reversed Jobava London after knight to c6.
Yeah.
The downside of that is that there is no c6 and no c5. So black can be so ambitious, like kind of similar to the London system.
Right.
So maybe in this case, you can be the one to take over with c4. But you already played c3. So the question is, what is your plan next?
Okay, so my plan was basically to just complete my development, make sure all my pieces have some nice squares, my king is safe. And okay, then we see, depending on how she's set up, like, am I going to play for c4 then? Am I going to play for e4? And just stay flexible. So this was my plan.
Okay, just to mention one more thing, on a higher level, even from the opening, I would look towards making the plan even from now. Like if I know some opening moves in theory, let's say, I'll try to figure out what will be my plan for later. And those will be like more or less three main plans. There are also others, but one is the pawn break c4, the second one is the pawn break e4, and the third one will be to avoid both and play something typical in the London system, like knight d2, bishop d3, knight e5, castle of course also, and maybe something like f4 later on.
Right. Yeah, I don't use this
So
f4 plan enough, but yeah, like I have seen it as well. Like in some positions, it's quite a nice one to
yeah,
get
but my
some.
point is, even from this early stage of the opening, you should probably notice what you want to do later, because this is not a very typical move, especially for black side. Mm.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll see and like have some reflection on like how I should have played. But yeah, she decided to fianchetto, and I kept going with this structure. Um, I actually don't know why this is a dubious move. I haven't. So these annotations are actually just from the live boards. So all of the live boards just had immediate computer analysis, which I would prefer it didn't. But okay, what to do? So I don't know if I punished this move properly or not. But the point is that I just wanted to get all of my pieces developed, be nice and solid, and then we'll see. Um,
Maybe it
uh-huh,
had uh, that annotation because of the move g4 later on,
uh-huh.
but that was still too early because black didn't play e6.
Right.
Black
So
didn't have to
maybe,
play e6.
yeah, maybe around here, like after e6, I should consider, I don't know, maybe knight h4 or something.
That's a possibility. G4 also may be a possibility at some point, and after bishop e4, either knight d2 with the f or the d knight. Probably knight f d2. You want to capture the bishop with f3, a free bishop.
Right.
It will force g5, so the bishop can retreat to b squares. You can capture an e4, and it's unclear how much you have achieved. It's still probably better for white, but yeah, it goes into complications.
Right.
Just a possibility.
Yeah. What do you think about this knight h4 move? I guess the problem is we're not winning. Oh, I guess maybe we are winning the bishop pair by force. Is this like a cleaner way to do it
That's
without
an
weakening the king? This is my thought.
Yeah, you can win the bishop pair like that. It's questionable if it's so good, because after you take on f5, black will have a choice. ef5 will a bit like weaken the center a bit, but solidify the king side, while g takes f5 takes better control over the center, especially putting the pawns on light squares because the light squared bishop is missing. So king h8, rook g8. At some point, black can try to make use of the g file. It's nothing dangerous. Probably white has enough defenders and resources, but it's a balanced exchange.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think in the game, like, yeah, I played knight d2 first because I wanted to follow up with the move knight h4 and just make sure that I've covered the square just to be more precise about it. And then eventually played g5. And I actually wasn't expecting this, and I was actually a little bit worried. Like maybe there's no need to be worried. Um, but what was I worried about? I played rook e1 for a very specific reason. Um, Yeah, I should have made notes on this immediately after the tournament because this would be nice to have all the variations I considered.
Yeah, it has been a while, I guess.
Yeah, like yeah,
Mm.
a while for me. Like lifetimes have come and gone in the week that it's been since. Not even a week, 4 days. But okay, let's think. Like because I seem to remember there was some kind of line where I didn't want the pawn like attacking my rook or something like this. Like
Wow,
some tempo,
that's
or maybe not for knight. Like maybe I was worried on g4. I might want to play knight h4 or something like this. And if they take, then I can take.
aha.
And I didn't want the tempo on my rook. Maybe this was what I was afraid of. I think I was maybe planning this. So
Okay,
that's
so
why I played rook e1. So that okay, then I can do this. I can take the bishop, and then when they take back, then I can play g3, uh, and not allow this.
okay, let's realize it like this. You are making a move, so yeah, I understand your logic. Just look at this point of view. You're making a move with the rook. From a closed file, you're placing it on a closed file.
Uh-huh.
The rooks are supposed to be on open files. There are no
Sure.
open files at the moment, but okay. Your main plan, as the pawn breaks that we discussed earlier, are c4 and e4. Main plan. There are others, but these are the main ones. If you intend to push e4, then rook e1 is great. However, I don't see it happening so easily because black has too many defenders.
Hmm.
And then, as it turns out, you just made a move which doesn't contribute much to your position.
Right.
So here I'll ask you, what is your plan in the position?
Mm, keep waiting to see if my opponent makes a mistake. It's like, yeah, it's like maybe it's quite a cowardly plan, but to
No,
me, like at the same time, like I felt, playing g5 and stuff, I had this feeling that okay, if I just wait and just make sure that I'm solid and just wait to see where I want to play. Like maybe probably c4. If my opponent sits and does nothing, I'll probably play rook c1, c4, and maybe bring some pieces to the e5 square. Maybe play against this c7 pawn. Probably this is my path. But I would prefer like to play rook e1 rather than rook c1, even though rook c1 is more active and more acute to that plan, because I want to make sure that I'm not allowing any counterplay. So for me, my number one plan is to stop all counterplay, and then my number two plan is probably this rook c1, c4, and play against this
that's
c5.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing is to know your plan. So as phases in the game, the opening has finished more or less. You
Mm-hmm.
developed your pieces, all four minor pieces are developed, you have castled, and now it's the next part of the plan, the rooks, the queen, and then pawn breaks. Of course, it doesn't have to go in this order, but the opening phase is more or less finished. So you need to know what you're going to do. Next thing is you see your opponent's plan. Your opponent's plan might maybe g5, g4. We don't know that. How does it fit in with your plan? And can you make a move which helps your plan and prevents the opponent's plan?
Right.
So there are two ways from here. One is yes, one is no.
True. And
Let's say your answer
actually,
is
yeah. Sorry. Continue.
so. Let's say the answer here is no. Then you should also assess if the threat is real. So first of all, you have a hook on h3. g4 will open up the g file. But is black better prepared for a kingside attack than you, as in the defender's case?
Um, Probably not. I feel like I've got more defenders than them.
Can you highlight those defenders?
Okay, so we've got like the bishop controlling some dark squares, this bishop, maybe even the queen supporting some control over like these light squares. The knight, I guess, is also a defender, and yeah, the pawns are defenders. So yeah, I think a
Okay.
decent amount. And for black, like yeah, right now it's only really the pawn, bishop, and knight. So
Okay, let's also highlight this because I want to show you with colors what is the point.
mhm.
You see, you have much more colors as white.
Right,
So g4 doesn't threaten anything to you. Like it may even backfire for black.
right. I
No need
guess
to be
like
afraid of it.
my feeling is that I just don't want to take any risk with weakening my king, even if it's an incorrect attack. I just don't want to even take that risk. But to touch on what you said earlier about like finding a solution that deals with both plans, I'm realizing actually maybe a move like knight e5 is interesting because that stops any risk of g4, and also I want to play on this square anyway. But okay, maybe actually I don't want to allow this knight to trade and allow black to push the c pawn, so maybe this isn't a good move. But yeah, I like at least trying to think in that way, like see if there's a way to be more precise with my play.
Yes, like multi-purpose moves. That's
Yeah.
the idea.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
95 might be one of them.
Yeah.
Uh, but okay, you're not playing the actual game, you're playing the opponent.
Right.
And that can be an issue sometimes because you don't get to objective decisions.
Right.
Sometimes you can make a stupid move just because your opponent is weak. That's underestimating the opponent, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly your opponent plays strong and you have problems.
Yeah. Been there a lot.
And that
Yeah.
has happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
So think about before you make a move such as rook e1. This is, if your plan is not e4, this is completely useless.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on.
So yeah, she just keeps developing, and yeah, I decided a4 would still be a useful move.
Okay.
And that's why I played it. And then here again, like I just didn't want to commit just yet with the c4 plan. So I think if I remember correctly, I played knight b1. Yeah, because I saw that she weakened this square, and I thought, okay, we can go round, and okay, it's a closed position. I should have the time to play this. So I played knight b1, and I think I was expecting, since my knight moved away from the center, I thought this might be a good move for her, knight e4. And okay, I still thought it's fine. It's not the end of the world. And I thought, okay, it's just an interesting game. I'll bring the knight over, maybe put some pressure on c7, then I'll improve the rook, maybe play c4. Maybe, yeah, I need to be careful of this b4 square. I'm not so sure. But then, yeah, she played this, which...
But wait a moment, just to point out what you're doing. You're
Yeah.
outplaying yourself.
What do you mean?
So, first of all, you played rook e1, a move that's completely unnecessary to stop a threat that isn't even real. Let's get
True.
back here. Next, we discussed about plan. You said potentially c4, and now here you go and you play a4 because
Right.
it might be a useful move, maybe a useful move. Which one of those? None. Like, okay, a4, a5, a6, maybe. But after a5, I can also play a6. I can play a5 here, like it was played in the game. And now again, you're not going for any type of active plan and like some to do something in the position.
Right.
You are going back.
Right.
You're undeveloping a developed piece.
Right.
And yes, she can just go forward. And after that, when you get to the knight with b5 to b5, let's say you got there, I will defend the c7 pawn, let's say with rook c8. Sometimes I may not even need to defend it. The counterplay will be started on this side will be real. Black is in a better prepared position now than earlier.
True. And I guess if you do just stop it, like, do I actually have any other way to develop this position? Or have I just burnt my bridges? Because, yeah, maybe the c4 is not so good since I have given up the square after a4.
Yes, because you played a4.
Yeah.
So as I said, you're basically outplaying yourself.
Yeah.
a4, knight b1, all of those moves are like that.
Right.
So
right.
play chess, play objectively. You will have much better results. Like even if you, let's say, lose a game even, you will win the rest 9 with weaker opponents. Just play the chess that you know how to play.
Right.
Don't play against your opponent.
Yeah. Oh boy. The rest of these games are gonna be very interesting. But yeah, I need to remember this. And okay, yeah, it paid off in this game because my opponent just completely missed my London bishop on h2. But of course, yeah, this is not gonna happen all the time, and as soon as I play a strong player, then they're going to exploit the fact that I'm playing knight b1. So yeah, this is a really good point. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so obviously now I do have an advantage, and then it was just a matter of like being careful here. And I think here actually, like, yeah, I don't know what you're gonna think about this. Okay, I think, did you disconnect? Okay, yeah, I think I saw Nikola disconnect. So yeah, let me check out chat. So I have a question for Nikola. It is a good idea to have a separate opening wrap for Blitz and Rapid. Okay, so Arjun, I'm gonna say, save that question. Oh, okay. Maybe we'll do like a Q&A at the end. So like for really general questions, then we'll have a Q&A. So, okay, Nikola, I just wanted to say that in the chat, like someone asked like a kind of general question for you as opposed to one about the position. So I said maybe at the end we'll just do a general Q&A based on all the questions. And yeah, we'll just cover everything then.
Yeah, I'm not reading the chat, by the way. So
okay, yeah, no problem.
To know if someone's writing it.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. So I think this is all good, and yeah. So all I was saying was that yeah, in this position, I felt like okay, I'm a pawn up. Like I just need to safely convert the position, and I have the feeling that I didn't even take on e5 here. I think no, I must have.
You can't see the moves. That's weird.
Yeah. Wait, it's not even letting me move. So, yeah. Okay. No, I did take on e5.
You did.
Yeah, and I think, I think I played some move like bishop b6. Yeah, so I think at first glance, like principally speaking, I was like, okay, maybe I should just trade as many pieces as I can. But then I thought actually there was some problem with just trading everything, which I didn't like. And I felt that
So
maybe the
remember,
bishop would be on d4 would be a useful piece. This was my thinking.
so there are two rules. First of all, when you're up in material, you should exchange pieces.
Yeah,
That's very basic, that's in general, and yes. But when you're a bit more advanced, there are also other things you need to consider.
sure.
For example, there is to take as a mistake. So this knight isn't doing anything. It can go forward, but it can recapture.
Right,
Keep in mind it
right.
can also can't go to the e5 square. So if you take either with the bishop or the knight, you help develop that knight on c6.
True. Yeah, and I think I had that in the game. I remember thinking about this, but I definitely didn't say to myself to take as a mistake. So I completely forgot this
Simple rule, but
simple rule.
it can
So
decide games.
yeah. I think I saw that. Yeah, okay. Black would like to have a square for this knight, but yeah, to think of it in that way is good. Nice.
Bishop b6 is a very good move. I like it.
Okay, nice. Uh, and yeah, she actually started exchanging, which I was very happy to see. I don't think I took the bishop. Oh, this is a mistake. So I think, okay, maybe it's a mistake because like I had something even stronger. But I thought that in this position, I just want to bring a knight to b5, like a nice outpost. And I thought, yeah, like I don't see why I shouldn't just go for it now.
What is the knight doing on b5?
Um, Looking pretty, controlling some nice central squares. Okay, like it's not
Okay.
really coordinated with a specific plan, but it's definitely better than being on b1. So I was just looking at where do I want to plant my pieces, and I feel like whenever I'm trying to consolidate and convert a position that I'm already like up a pawn, I want to make sure everything is secure and solid, and yeah. But I thought the b5 square would be nice for the knight.
Yeah, in chess we have something we call like a mannequin piece.
Uh-huh.
So that knight will be very pretty on b5, but in
Hmm.
fact that's only what it does. Nothing. It's just pretty.
Right.
In this case, it's not exactly like that because it can go to
It can,
d4.
yeah, I should have said that as well. That was on my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, but why not knight d2, let's say?
Yeah, there's no real reason. I mean, I just thought like I might want some control of this with the queen. Like that was probably the only difference. But even the bishop coming here, like I don't know, maybe this is a bit annoying. So maybe this is a factor.
What is annoying? The bishop decentralizes.
Yeah, and I can literally just capitalize on that immediately.
No, ignore the tactics.
Uh-huh.
Just from a logical point of view, what is dangerous if the bishop... Would you rather put the bishop on a6 or on e4?
Maybe a6 in the sense that like it just feels like it controls some more squares that I'd want to use. Whereas the
It
bishop here,
controls a.
yeah, but that's yeah, I guess I mean like technically that's less than this bishop, right? But
Here in the center, it puts pressure on f3, maybe on your king. It's centralized. Defends d5, it can go to
true,
d3.
true.
From a6, it only controls d3
Mm, mm,
and the diagonal, which you're not even using.
right,
So in this game, you're breaking many principles.
right.
Like I'm not saying just to take as a mistake.
Uh-huh.
You're playing on the opponent. Here earlier, you didn't make a plan.
Yeah,
You played rook e1, a redundant move. You played a4 because you didn't want to, I don't know, allow your opponent some concrete action or
yeah.
something.
Hmm.
And then you decentralized your nicely placed knight on d2. You went back to b1. You
Right,
undeveloped your knight. And then now, instead of going to the center, you're going on the corner of the board.
right.
You're
Yeah,
breaking many, many principles. Be aware of that.
yeah. Nah, it's good because I didn't realize, and actually, this game, like I thought, yeah, we'd go through this in like 30 seconds. Yeah, really clean game, like really well played. Nothing to comment. Move on. So yeah, I wasn't aware of like all of these things. So it's good to definitely be reminded.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
how the rest will go,
Yeah.
But this, I mean, from this game, you can really take a lot, and we're not even finished with the game.
If we can take a lot from this game, yeah, the rest of the games are gonna be. Oh no, it's gonna be rough. But yeah, this is good.
I'm scared now.
This is good. Yeah, no, you should be. You should be terrified. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I take on board what you're saying. So yeah, I play this knight a3. I guess knight d2 would have been better for the reasons we discussed. Okay, I save my bishop. Don't lose a bishop for nothing. Yeah, my opponent clearly, I think, yeah,
It's a
like,
mistake.
to take is a mistake. Yeah, she's down a pawn.
Several times.
Exactly. So okay, I'm lucky that my opponent's making even more mistakes than I am. And
I have high rating.
true. And yeah, I played this move to offer the exchange, which I just thought this pawn structure I can always play with f3. I thought it'd be solid enough, and I can just play on the e file and make use of my extra material.
Yeah, makes sense.
And why did I play this? I think I wanted to bring my queen onto this square to put pressure on d5 and maybe b6. And I saw
wait
that.
a little. Your queen was more or less developed on g4.
Right.
What about your other pieces? Can you include them somehow, some way?
Yes, but I was afraid of maybe queen c4, I think.
Okay.
So if I
that
start
does make
like
sense.
if I start playing rook e7, rook e1, with some vague idea of something, I don't know, then yeah, queen c4. I thought maybe these could be a problem.
There we go. Those pawns are a bit soft, so you're worried about them. That's a good answer. So you didn't play queen d1 for no reason.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so I saw that she was probably planning to play queen f6, but I prepared just to play rook e2, and I can also bring the other rook to f1 if I need extra defense. Yeah, and I guess she didn't know what to do, and yeah, just gave me a pawn. So, okay.
Good for you.
Yeah, good for me. And yeah, okay, she tried something, but yeah, I think I saw a way that I can try, and yeah, this was quite clever, right? Like use mini tactics. Yeah, so she can't take, and I keep things closed. Anything to keep the position closed. This is all I want on the king side. And then I just went extra safe just to make sure that there's no any kind of tactics. And
yeah, rook f1 was, I don't know, a bit too much. You don't need it.
Okay.
But okay,
yeah.
you are already lower on time, so I may understand.
Yeah, and then the position is collapsing now because, and then yeah, I'm just a whole rook up, and then yeah, just win.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, really interesting comments. Like, God, I feel like I should be making notes, but maybe I'll just watch this whole video again. But God, how long will it be? I want to.
Rate,
you know what? No.
Very.
Okay, I want to make some notes. Let's actually try and summarize. So, Nikola notes. So from this game, we had play with purpose. I think with purpose. Find multi-purpose moves as well. I think this was important.
So first one is
and play.
Identify if the opponent's threat is real.
Yeah. Okay, that's another one. Yeah, exactly. Identify.
Make a plan.
Yeah.
To take is a mistake.
Simple logic. How many defenders? How many attackers? So this is regarding early g4 push and rook e1 response. Yeah, and then yeah, to take is a mistake. Need to remember this. Okay, I'll put that in capitals. Yeah.
Yeah, we will notice later on if this happens again.
Yeah.
But if these patterns repeat, you'll be required the next time you play to ask yourself the question: does this move I'm making break any principles?
Yeah.
Let's see if you repeat this stuff.
Yeah.
Because the opponent was lower rated in this game. That's why you're playing differently.
Yeah.
We can move on.
Oh boy. Okay, so next game, I'm playing
Okay.
FIDE Master Borna Derkshani. I think like
Mm-hmm.
his actual class score is like 2350 or something. Doesn't matter. Anyway, like I felt like okay, let's give him a game. Like actually yeah, like I wasn't yeah, I wanted to give him a good game. This was kind of my mentality going into it, and just like yeah, try my best. So here, you'll be sad to hear that I don't really have a repertoire against Reti in English right now, and I've kind of stopped playing the Dutch actually with Black because I'm like lacking confidence in like finishing the attack. Like I've had maybe some traumatic experiences where I'm getting like great positions and like not finding the way. So I've been
Yeah.
finding that like playing more closed strategical positions have been working out. And right now I'm actually so broke for a Black repertoire against Reti or English is that I'm even considering playing like these like slug setups, which is of course breaking many principles. So this is not great. I need to like find something that suits me better. But I started with G6 because I know that yeah, maybe there's a chance my opponent will want to be ambitious and play E4. And okay, then we're back into my E4 repertoire with
And
modern.
just to
So
mention something here. So
yeah,
take a note of this because after this conversation, these are the things that you need to do. One of the stuff that you need to do is find what to play on this system.
true.
Now, if
Yeah,
we get into some stuff that should be prioritized, that's okay.
yeah,
But this should be somewhere on the list.
right, right.
Next, don't play, I think you call it the slug.
Yeah,
It breaks 1,000 principles.
uh huh.
So that's a no-go. And yeah, the system with C6 d5 that you play in this game is also, I mean, it's not great, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah,
So, okay.
yeah. Take that fully on board. Yeah. So we get into something I know, and he plays c3, just trying to be solid. And actually, this is a good way to play against the Garganitza. But he actually goes wrong really quick. So, okay, bishop g4, okay, engine will say it's inaccurate. Probably the correct move here is f6, but this is a very different nature of the game. So I'm fine with this. And basically, white should be playing knight d2 so that they can recapture the knight with the knight.
Mhm.
And that's like the correct way to play, and then they keep like a small advantage if they play extremely accurately and play every move perfectly, pretty much. But yeah, my opponent already goes wrong, allows this exchange, and now the position is getting close to equal. I haven't actually analyzed this opening at all, so I don't know if what I played was correct, and I really should. But yeah, I thought this should be the way to play with c5. Like I've traded off my bad bishop, I will just develop my pieces and play against this pawn. This was my strategy.
Okay. Keep in mind that c5 seems to be okay at this point, but your king is in the center. You are not yet fully developed.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't castled. So opening up the position is a bit risky.
Right.
Just be aware of it because the opponent can always go like c4 and everything blows open.
I see. Yeah.
Plus, they have the bishop pair. So
Right.
it's probably fine, but just to be aware of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I completely agree. Um, and yeah, he took on c5, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
Yeah, and I took here. And okay, his idea is that he's not giving up the bishop pair because he's going to give this check. But I didn't really mind. I just thought I'd return.
Yeah,
And
the times presented are actually the real
yes,
game times,
real
right?
game times. Yep.
So he took on c5, okay, 15 seconds plus the addition. That's still too quick. Take on c5.
To make such a decision. Yeah, I mean, he was out of
Yeah,
book as well. So yeah.
you give a central pawn.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just looks nice for black.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is. Like, I think around here, like, I get, like, a nice advantage, actually. And around here, yeah, maybe this was still fine. This was still all good.
Yeah. Was h6 necessary, by the way?
Um, yeah,
Why
why
not
did I
just
play it?
castle?
Yeah, I could just castle. I guess if they take my knight on c6, I take back with the pawn, but that would have happened anyway here, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, so again, like, yeah, probably trying to stay as principled as possible. Like, you know, if you can play some random pawn move like h6 or you can castle, then you should castle. So,
And
yeah.
here, to take is a mistake.
Right. My fear was that if I just castle, then maybe they take me, and I wasn't sure if I wanted. Ah, no, what I also wanted as well is I wanted their queen to be on f6, so maybe I gained some kind of tempo on the queen. This was my thinking. But I guess then I spend a tempo taking the bishop. So I'm
A
not sure.
risky decision because you activate the opponent's queen. You leave the h6 pawn with no defenders. Remember that undefended pieces can lead to tactics.
Right.
So if you do that, be very careful. You need to be concrete. Concrete justification in order for like anti-principle or anti-positional thing to work
Right. Right.
is needed. Okay?
So yeah, I tried this idea, and yeah, my opponent retreated, and I think here was the moment where I can actually take over. And I think maybe there were two different ideas that were strong. So I think the first one was like knight f5, which was just like slight advantage, like minus 0.7 or something. And then like e5 as well, maybe now or maybe on the next move was really good. But I never played this e5 because I was always worried that my center would come under fire, and I didn't really see what controlling the center here would actually gain for me. Now I see it. Maybe the idea of playing such a move like e5 is to try and play d4 and try and get a pass pawn, which just wasn't on my mind during the game. I just wanted to stay solid, so this was kind of on my mind.
That's probably not it. So first of all, it depends. You're gaining space. Engines evaluate space advantage like really a lot, especially Stockfish. It really likes it.
Yeah.
But e5, d5, you really need to be careful for that your center doesn't come under fire. So that's a
Right.
very, very risky decision because you're not accomplishing much, but
Okay, so I'm glad to
can go
have
wrong.
had that like fear in the position.
Yes, that's very good, like from awareness point of view. And e5, d4, you are going into the opponent's territory. You are spending time to do that, time which will the opponent use to develop.
Right. And I'm realizing
So
actually it must be the next move because e5 surely they can just take this pawn, right? So I think it must have been the
yes,
next move where e5 was the point. But yeah, I take your point as well that yeah,
that's for starters, but in general, you don't have enough support to enter the opponent's camp like this.
right,
You need to
right.
have the queen on d7, rook on d8, rook on e8.
And then okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I played king g7. And then they developed. And maybe now was the moment where e5 or also this knight f5 move was like wanted to be played, but I never played it because I was worried about g4. And I just didn't see like where my knight would reroute to, so I just felt like there's no point putting it on f5. And if maybe g4 is like a weakness, maybe it's worth doing. And maybe the more I look at it, actually, yeah, like maybe white doesn't want to play g4 in this kind of position. Like maybe it's too committal. So maybe it's worth having the knight on a more active square. But okay, I see Nikola is cut out again. So, damn, I didn't expect to get roasted so hard. But yeah, it's definitely all deserved. And yeah, let me check out the chats. So, yeah, Arjun, I will save your question for the end. I will try my best to remember. Cat plays very well. Welcome. I see Nikola analyze. I click watch. Absolutely, Stephen. And okay, a question from YV. What about b3 instead of queen d1, queen b3? Okay, so yeah, we can. Hello, Nikola again. Just to
So
quickly check. In the last game, someone briefly asked, so I want to just address this. Okay, my internet is also slow. When I played this queen d1, queen b3 maneuver over here, someone asked, instead of this, what about playing b3? And for me, my okay, we're not synced actually. My bad. Let me get us synced. Yeah, so instead of this maneuver yeah, in this position, right? Instead of going queen d1, queen b3, someone in chat asked what about b3. For me, I didn't want to make this c3 pawn a permanent weakness. However, I do appreciate that the knight is protecting it, so this could be like some kind of solid setup overall, but in general, I don't want to limit my pieces defending a pawn. Like, I would prefer that the pawns defend the pawns, and I felt like the queen was also active on b3. It wasn't just defending, but it was also active, so if I can play a move that activates a piece and defends, this is better than limiting a piece to the defense. So this was my logic not to play b3. I don't know.
Yeah, here I would mention that b3 is, let's say, pros and cons. Your rook is tied down to the defense of the a4 pawn, but then again, the a4 pawn isn't attacked at the moment. Well, after b3, the knight will be always tied down to c3. Here, I would say that the deciding factor is a bonus, basically, to what we said. This bishop is kind of blocked and stares into a wall of these three pawns. Black would really love to destroy that pawn chain, but in order to do that, he needs to get to the base of the pawn chain, which is the b2 pawn. Extremely difficult thing to do. So if you move it to b3, the base of the pawn chain becomes c3. A much easier target. Of course, the knight is still here, but if you ever want to move it, these two pawns can become quite a weakness.
Right. Yeah, that's a nice point to bring up the bishop and the pawn chain. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that, so that's nice.
So, bottom line, probably I wouldn't go for it.
Oh, let's go back to...
Just one thing to mention. I opened the YouTube video. Maybe you can move my camera a bit up.
Somehow you've got down. Okay.
Yes.
I must have moved you then for some reason without even realizing it. 'Cause I guess I'm moving zoom, the zoom camera a lot. Oh God, what am I doing? Okay, wait. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I think. Oh my God, Michael. Yeah, this is really tricky. This was really tricky for my. Okay, yeah. Okay, we're good. Okay, thanks for checking. Okay, yeah. So let's go back to the game. So yeah, I agree that this h6 was probably unnecessary. I should just castle. And yeah, my opponent moved back, which was inaccurate. And yeah, I should have played some knight f5 at some point. So actually, Nikola, what do you think of this? Maybe I can see which move specifically it was. There was like some move at some point where knight f5 was good. Was it here? Yeah, I think maybe it was this moment here, like after queen f4, engine is suggesting knight f5, but maybe it's not something significant.
Yeah. By the way, don't have the engine on while we analyze. It will just guide you in a different direction. We are trying to improve as a human chess players.
Right,
the engine thinks differently.
Yeah.
So practically during a chess game, first of all, I'll try to fix these weaknesses and improve the king.
Sure.
It's a bit awkward that I'm placing the king on a square, which can later be checked on the queen. But that's a preferable case than g5.
Right.
g5 is even more weakening of the kingside pawn structure. Knight f5 is probably a tactical solution to the defense of h6. So after g4, you have g5, most likely.
Right.
I'm guessing. After king g7, I would consider the following moves. One is queen a5 to put some pressure on the bishop and the pawn. And the other one is queen to b8. Because I would like to exchange this active queen that white has.
Because my king is a bit weaker.
Yes, in comparison to this one.
Yeah.
And also I can activate my queen if white decides to decline.
Right. I actually think I do all of this. And it's funny, it's actually I do both plans because I actually play queen a5. And at least the move that I played it, I realized it was actually a really bad move. And then I had to go back. And then I did this plan. So, yeah, okay. But yeah, when I played queen a5, this was actually not good because I had the same idea, but I wanted to put some pressure on c5, but I completely overlooked that they have a4.
It only accelerates.
Yes,
whites.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought I would have time for a6, and yeah, so I thought this was a good move, and he just played this instantly, and I was like, ah, damn it. But okay, I try and
Tough life.
make it work. I play rook c8 so that I can play queen c7.
There we go.
So yeah, I mean, you know, I just wanted to play both your plans, right? So this was the reason. But yeah, so now I got my queen active, and again, like I'm doing okay in this position. And yeah, then
Yeah.
what? I guess I played rook d8. Like, why wouldn't I play rook d8? No, I played queen f6.
Close enough.
Uh, yeah, I think. Yeah, no. So this is the thing. This is the thing, right? So I saw queen f6, and I thought that if they take and I take, they will play c4. I thought this would be the main move here, and I realized this is kind of like a bit tricky because maybe white will play knight e4 and come in with a knight. This was what I was thinking, which is why I didn't play queen f6 at first. But then I started to actually look at it deeper, and I saw a line where I felt like I was fine. Like I think I thought queen f6, if takes c4, and I think I was looking at rook d8 here, and I thought if they take, I can take, and I was looking at some line where they can come in, and I felt like I'd be fine. Like they can bring this knight in, but no, this maybe I saw something else. I can't remember what I saw, but I thought I saw something where I felt happy with. So I went for this queen f6. But
Mhm.
maybe there's an
Okay.
argument to say that, okay, why even allow this complication with c4? Maybe I should just play something that tries to prevent this. I don't know.
Okay. So is the I wouldn't say the same, but similar case to like your first game.
Hmm.
What is white threatening with c4
Right now or after the queen trade?
right now?
Well, they're hoping that they will dislodge my d pawn so that they can activate their knight. This is like the plan.
Okay. So it takes c4, c takes d5, knight e4, knight d6. Four
Hmm.
moves.
Right.
You have four moves. And in comparison, rook fd8 or queen f6, which one prepares better against it?
Rook fd8.
That's the first move you said, like immediately once you
Yeah.
saw this position. So queen f6, your queen is really well placed on e5. There is absolutely no need to move it and no need to trade it right now because your king is safe with the queen on e5.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah.
attacked, you can always get it back to f6 or f5.
Yeah,
Next,
exactly. Let them spend the tempo doing it. Yeah.
yes, c4, cd5, knight d5 will activate your knight. So again, to take as a mistake, this c4 will be terrible.
Right. Right.
But if they take, activate your knights, put pressure on d4, threaten knight c3, different ideas, different threats. And on top of all that, c4, you have knight d4.
Mm-hmm.
This is also a threat.
Right.
So you're reacting to a threat that hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah.
And
And
even if the
literally,
move happens, the threat is still
and
non-existent.
it's even worse than that because by playing queen f6, I'm even putting my king on a vulnerable square. So after c4, I don't even have knight d4 because probably there's like some knight check or something. With so
Possibly.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, so this was bad. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's completely yeah crazy. So I think yeah, like checking in with myself, like, is my move actually principled? Like you know, I just said I should play rook d8. Like why? Like I'd play this in a bullet game, and this is the other thing as well. Like I noticed this actually, like with my chess, like rapid and classical, but I get into mess because I start overthinking my moves. Like I guarantee that this would have been the first move I thought, and then I don't play it. Whereas in like Blitz, you saw I had like one really like my so when I think about my tournaments, the last good tournament I had was a Blitz tournament in Serbia, where I beat like a couple IMs and played well. And okay, when I'm playing with less time, then I can kind of just like I have to trust my intuition, and my intuition is based on principles. But when I start to like calculate, I suddenly forget. So I think this is a really
When you
good
start
point.
to think,
Yeah,
the principles go out the window.
Right, and they shouldn't. So I think, yeah, your comment on the first game, like, okay, is my move principled? Ask yourself this question. Like, I need to do this because, yeah, to play Queen F6 is such a bad move. It's like so bad. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
a remaining objective. I think that I want to mention here, this may or may not be the case for this game, I can say. You mentioned your mentality going into this game at the beginning, but I would also like to point out, so first you were scared to play e5. That was more or less correct. It's a double-edged decision.
yeah.
Knight f5, g5, it's questionable if you even saw it during the game,
Hmm.
because it's an engine line. But now you are becoming scared from a non-existent threat.
Right.
So against the stronger opponent, you're playing more cautiously, kind
Yeah.
of. While rook f d8, if I give you this position any day, that's the move you'll make.
Right. But the worst thing is, I think even against a weaker opponent, I might even play this move. Based on the fact that I thought that like I'm calculating something, the reason I think I played it was because I felt like this move would encourage this, and I thought this would actually be a better transformation for me than leaving this position. So it's not just like I wanted to trade queens against a stronger player. I genuinely thought that that resulting position might be better than this, but I shouldn't until I am further developed, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
this c4 move, like it is something that will potentially be a problem, and even if I calculated some line, like if it principally doesn't make sense to weaken my king to inactivate my queen, like just don't do it. Like it's simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, I'm glad you highlighted this very clearly. Yeah, so this happened on the board. I was happy to see it, and then the more I started to look, the more I started to doubt. And then, yeah, like my original plan was to play this rook d8. Um, and I was considering both rook takes d5 as well as knight takes d5 and just like getting confused over like what to do. And then I realized actually maybe the most fighting way would be to play d4 with the idea that after check and knight in, I would be able to play rook c7, I think. And then I felt like I would be fine because um yeah, what did I have planned? Had some idea. Maybe like I would I don't know. Maybe I could even play like some rook d8, rook d7, knight c8 or something like this. I think I had some plan of this, and I thought maybe the getting a pass pawn on d4 might be good. Like I felt like I wouldn't lose the pawn. So yeah, this was the line I looked at actually. So I thought if d4, knight check, king here, knight into d6, rook c7. My thinking was that, okay, my knight protects the d4 pawn, so maybe they will take, and then I will take back with a knight, and if they play b5, then I can play knight a5. And the point is that, okay, they can try take on d4, but then I'll take on c5. And my knight is also protecting b7. And I thought then I would have good pressure on the c file. I can bring my other rook to c8, put pressure on c4, and I thought I'd be fine. So I thought if that looks good for me, then I don't have to worry about bishop takes c6. And if I don't have to worry about that, the next move I'm going to play e5. I'm going to cement this advantage. Okay, it gets this strong knight, but I can always kick it out at some point with one of these moves. So I thought this was good.
Yeah. Okay. The problem here is that you're calculating one straight line,
Yeah,
and that's all.
yeah.
So first of all, he doesn't need to take on c6 to take as a mistake, and he doesn't need to play b5 at all. Absolutely no reason. Instead, he may play something like a5, threatening a6. Of course, it's more complicated than that. There may be some hope for you to save the position because he has a knight on d6, bishop on b5, and four kind of threatening pawns versus two.
Mm-hmm.
They have already started advancing while yours are nowhere.
Right.
So maybe you can save it, maybe not, but it's much more complicated than a straight line.
True.
Bishop
Yeah, and
takes.
that's a really good point. Like I should be more realistic by the fact that it's not a straight line, right? It's not like a set of forced checks and captures.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's there are options, and yeah, and naturally I missed one because in this position, they can take now before knight d6, and this makes all the difference because now I don't have this whole plan because the knight is still on protecting my pawn. So I'm just going to lose a pawn, and I think Nikola has disconnected. That's my yeah. So this is what happened. Yeah. Oh man. Oh man. Okay. So no new comments. Um. Damn. This is gonna be a few hours of roasting. But yeah, I really need this. I really need this. Yeah. And I think this, if anything, this shows like the importance of having a coach in chess because I think like when you, I mean, I haven't been coached by Nikola for like maybe a year or over like 2 years, 3 years or something, and I can definitely tell that like a lot of the things that Nicholas is saying, like I've literally heard so many times, and you know because I haven't been
Hey, I'm
getting
back.
coached, yeah, then this just happens. Okay, welcome back, Nicholas. So I don't know if you missed the tactic, but yeah, the thing is, yeah, he doesn't have to play knight d6 immediately. He can deviate here, and now this is very
Yeah.
different because now on b5 this isn't working because the knight still protects. And I went for
Yeah.
this anyway. But yeah, you're exactly right that yeah, I shouldn't treat this as a linear position. Like it's very naive to do that. So yeah, I should be realistic with when to calculate. And yeah, I kind of saw this, but I thought b6 was very like I felt like he was trying to force matters too much. I felt like he just had a stable advantage. He didn't have to force it, but okay, I guess he calculated some long line and thought that he was winning, which I guess he was. And so I win the pawn back, but he's got this move. And after the game, he said that I actually had like some active way to play this position, which would be compensation. I didn't understand what he was saying in the game. And the engine doesn't say that I have one, but maybe there is at least a better try. Because what I did was I played this and set up like this. And my hope was that, okay, my king is actually closer than his king. I'll bring the king over and, yeah, defend my pawn with the king. And then maybe I can
And
re-maneuver these pieces.
I'm guessing that's how you blunder the tactic.
Yeah, see, you see it from here.
Yeah.
I wasn't even, like, literally in this position. I was like, okay, I secure this position. I bring my king over to c6. Yeah, and I didn't even look. Like, not even close to seeing this. And this was, like, kind of the game where I kind of woke up a bit because I was like, yeah, like, what's like, literally, like, you can't just play in terms of strategic schemes and not consider tactics when there are literally pieces around my king. Like I've been teaching like a lot of my students recently about like yeah, like king safety when playing like with the king in a strategic plan and making the exact same mistakes. So it's just yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
Whenever you're in a passive position, remember that it's never easy to play it. So that's why most
Right.
people tend to avoid them if possible, even they sacrifice something or anything just for activity.
Right. So actually, yeah,
As you
that's I
see.
never considered that actually that you're more prone to well, actually, no, it's true, right? Because it's like tactics favor the side that's positionally better. So if our
Exactly.
opponent is pressing and positionally better, then there are going to be more tactics in their favor. Yeah, absolutely.
Well
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, I just need to apply my own bloody principles.
You
Um,
should.
oh, God. Ta-da!
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess then without this resource, then actually, yeah, this position's a lot worse for me because it's gonna be much harder to hold. Um,
Maybe impossible even.
yeah, the engine says I have no chance. It's like +1 +2 already or something.
That's not that much. But yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, and then of course,
That's how it
yeah,
ended.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
four
I
pieces left.
played a bit more, and yeah, then I actually resigned. I try not to resign, but yeah, I was like, okay, this is just so stupid to play on. Like, there's no point. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, you're completely lost.
yeah.
Okay, overall, it was a better game than the previous one. So that's good.
Aha. Okay.
You fought a little bit. I mean, the previous one was clearer, but your
Yeah,
opponent didn't use your mistakes. That's
right.
why we saw it as better win. But overall, when you see the underlying patterns, this is much better in terms like that.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm glad to hear that. And yeah, I think yeah, let's move on to the next. I'm really curious to hear like your feedback about this next game. And I want to share a little story before this round.
Hmm.
I don't think I've
Okay.
mentioned this to anyone actually. So yeah. So basically, something happened that actually kind of affected my headspace, which was unfortunate. So what actually happened was I had finished round, right, the last round, and I was like waiting for the next round, and someone approaches me, right, and I don't
Okay.
know this guy, and he says like, ah, like I think I know you from somewhere or something. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe he knows Chess Lifestyle or something, maybe. But I just like say like, okay, like that's cool. Like, what do you think? And he asked my name, and then he asked like, ah, like, do you play in the Leicestershire League? And I was like, yeah, I play for Loughborough. And then he was like, ah, you are the infamous Michael Green. Now, Nikola, I don't think I've actually told you the story, but did you see my crazy swindle, which wasn't on purpose, where I accidentally checkmated my opponent, but I didn't think it was a checkmate, and I said checkmate, and we agreed the result, and it wasn't a checkmate. Have you heard of this story?
No.
Okay, I
Okay.
will show you the position later. I literally played a move that I thought was checkmate. He went and I said like, sorry, but this is checkmate. Like I completely swindled. Like I was two rooks down. Like no chance. But he was like careless. He was just playing to mate me and just stopped looking at my threats. So with two knights left, only two knights, I checkmated the guy. But of course, he had just made a move that meant it wasn't checkmate. But I was like, I was on increment. I was so like in the zone. I thought it was checkmate. And he went, oh no, oh man. And we shook hands. We started to discuss the game. We even started to reset the pieces. And then he says, wait, this is not checkmate. And
Whoops.
then the drama starts, right? So, okay, of course the guy was very unhappy. I said that, well, we shook hands on it. That's the rules, which it is. And okay, it ended up being a huge like discussion, argument, whatever you want to call it, and the whole two teams were involved. Luckily, the team result didn't matter. Anyway, uh, the board one also like said some like rude stuff to me. I mean, like he's like, okay, this is live, so I should probably like keep my mouth shut about what I think about this guy. Anyway, so yeah, basically it went to the league, and the league officials said, yeah, you win the game, of course. Like this is the rules.
If it works, it works.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, the league officials were like, okay, like you know what, um, we would appreciate a sporting gesture if you agree to draw. And to be honest with me, like I was always happy to draw, but the other team was like claiming that they should win this game.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I'm guessing.
um, so I responded. I mean, my team captain also said like it's just like yeah, if I was you, I'd agree to draw, but it's your call. I agreed to draw, right? Like normally I wouldn't, but this is a team match anyway. So I'm this guy at the tournament, right? He recognizes me and he says like, ah, like okay, you're the Michael Green, and then he starts,
Surprise.
yeah, and then he starts like being like, oh yeah, so you know, I play for this club, and yeah, that whole thing happened, and yeah, we were discussing like whether it was like a trick, like, and he was like, yeah, but like a player of your level, you would never not miss that. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, of course I might miss something like this. Like, you know, anyone can blunder. I missed it. He missed it. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're all
So
humans.
we're
It's
all
normal
humans, but
to miss
okay, this
sometimes.
this guy was like some 1500 player. Like you know, I guess like 2000 to him is something completely like out of his universe. So I guess he doesn't know what to really believe, right? So I can understand and like
Hmm.
yeah, he said he was just saying how like you know like there was like huge amounts of like tension and like outrage about it, whatever. And okay, he wasn't like saying anything outright, right? Like he wasn't accusing me of cheating or something like this. But still, to just have this conversation with someone who clearly hates your guts just before
Yeah.
another round of chess, it's just I did not need this, right? I did not need this.
It
But
wasn't great. Yeah.
I guess this is karma, right? Like you know, you like um you fight for every point, and then this is what happens, right? So yeah, this is, but okay, fuck it, whatever.
It happens.
Yeah. So anyway, this conversation happened, and I told myself, okay, I'm not gonna get distracted by this, and if anything, I'll use like the frustration over this to actually play a better game. Like, I want to,
That's good.
yeah, I want to play better
Good
chess as a result.
perspective to
Yeah.
switch things up.
And I think you'll see from the game, like I do play some better chess. So my opponent played d5 after.
Not the starting move to crush your opponent, but
Well, we'll see,
okay.
we'll see. So I play my London system. He plays bishop f5, and my rule is on bishop f5. I want to play queen b3, and then my opponent plays b6, and
Perfect
yeah,
for you.
perfect for me, exactly. Weaken some light squares. So I play e3, and he even plays knight d7. And in this position, I thought, okay, I have two ways to play. Either I just stick to my guns, play my nice, calm London system, wait for them to mess up. But okay, I was feeling a bit annoyed from this previous comment. And also I felt like, okay, he's played b6, he's playing this. No, I'm playing bishop b5. Like, this is the correct move. It's the objective correct move.
Yes.
I play it. So
There
I
we
play
go.
it. He plays e6, and I develop, bringing another piece to potentially attack his pieces. And here he makes an inaccuracy with bishop e7. I bring the knight in, which is correct. And he even plays bishop d6, having to admit his mistake. Which, okay, my opponent was, I think, 10 years old. My opponent. So to already be like admitting mistakes, I think this is quite nice from him. But okay, this should be good for me. And then I see that I have this idea that I can play bishop c6, and if rook c8, then I can play bishop b7, rook b8,
And knight c6.
and knight c6. Yeah, with advantage. So, okay, I was feeling good about that, and I saw that, okay, if he plays a rook b8, I didn't see a win, but I thought at the very least, maybe I can play queen a4, add more pressure, and this pawn is a weakness as well. So, based on
But
this,
just to know, as a pattern, bishop c6, rook b8, it will be great if your knight can go to c6. That's not possible because the bishop is there. Can
yes,
I eliminate that bishop in a forced way?
yes,
Answer is yes.
and I did see it. I couldn't see the move. I couldn't see the move. Like I think this is like one weakness I've understood for a long time now, which is if I have like a good piece, which I thought was good because it like has this pressure, which it doesn't even make sense because my opponent's going to castle next, right? Like,
Yep. So if you do anything, you need to do it now.
yeah, and I did have this feeling. And okay, how long did I spend on this move? Okay, 30 seconds. Maybe this is not enough. I know I did have this feeling, but I should have something. But I looked and I thought, okay, I've got nothing, so I just don't spend more time. But yeah, simple fork. Simple fork. And the thing is, like, I don't know. Huh?
Fork, yeah, but remember the basics. Checks, captures, threats.
Yeah.
It's a simple capture and a check. The most
Yes.
forcing move in the position.
Yeah. 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 And literally after the game, like the first thing he said to me was, yeah, like you missed a win, you just take the knight and then give a fork. And I was like, yeah. Like I can visualize it, I can see it, but I just couldn't see it in the game. Yeah, so yeah. I played Queen A4. I missed this opportunity. He then took and got out of this trick. And again, my calculation was terrible. I played this based on the reason that, well, I think bishop takes was fine, but this was the moment where my calculation was terrible. I literally thought that I took this pawn because I didn't think that he had any move here. And I completely overlooked that after takes, I thought that the only way he can try and pressure this pawn is knight d7. So I considered this line, and I thought that either I can take or I can maybe even play f4. I thought this would be completely fine for me, and it's worth taking this pawn. But I completely missed that he can do this. I just didn't see it. So again, probably this like linear calculation, trying to calculate
Yes.
too quickly and just not considering these candidates. Like, but the worst thing is like, I know this. I even teach my students how to do this and not to do what I'm doing. And yet, like, yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't know what it is.
So, you know, I
Yeah.
was quiet for a minute or two. You basically explained where you went wrong, why you went wrong, and how to fix it.
Well, how do I
That's
fix
quite
it?
interesting.
I don't know how to fix it.
You need to be conscious about this stuff. So if we go through these games and you see the stuff that you're doing that you know are wrong, you
Yeah.
just still do them,
Yeah.
then you should consciously think about it during a game. So the next
Right.
time you go to a tournament, you make a list of those. You
Yeah.
can take a big list, but let's say, for example, three things to keep in your mind while you're playing.
Right. Right.
And every time you want to make a move, you just quickly go through these three.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like it. And actually, I do have a list of like kind of golden tips, which I just haven't looked at for a while. So, should probably do that.
Yeah, but
Um,
those are the things of how to implement a new thing into your chess routine.
right.
I mean, while you play, and of course also to reinforce an old one which you have already learned, but for some reason you're not using.
Right.
This is that case.
Yeah.
So create your mental list
Yeah.
and take that the next time you play.
Yeah. And actually, yeah, for the record, I think this is actually a big reason why my motivation for chess improvement has been generally lower than it used to be because I feel like the reason why I'm losing most of my games are due to things that I already know. So then it feels annoying to learn new things because then like I'm still gonna
Yeah,
lose.
what will be the point because you haven't, yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is a factor. But yeah, like I think being conscious about it is like a really good piece of advice. Like it's so obvious, but yeah, I don't do it, so I need to. But I just went back to the previous games. I want to make some notes about the previous games so I can read over these notes and then try and make this list and be conscious, right? So the last game, what went wrong? So don't play. Again, sorry. Ask yourself, is this principled? So this is like Queen f6 decision. This was like important, and then there was also yeah the linear. Don't calculate a linear line. I don't know if everyone can see what I'm typing here. Yeah, don't calculate a linear line. Consider any relevant branches.
That's a bit more complicated because you do the candidate moves, maybe let's say on the actual position, but you need to do, let's say, candidate moves on move one, on move two. That's
Yes,
already a bit
yes,
difficult. So it depends. That's already calculation and it's a different thing.
right, right. But yeah, was there anything else to take home from this? I think. Oh, and missing the tactic at the end. So it's like yeah, like um, in passive positions or weaker ones, the principle of tactics favor the side that is positionally stronger is really important. This is why King d6 at the end was prone. I'll put was destined to be a blunder. I think this is like how it
Better
is.
way to say it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is good. And yeah, we see again like this linear calculation where I only considered this 97 branch, not this 94 branch. And yeah, now I'm in trouble. Because suddenly I've gone all in for like some pawn. I'm going to lose my central pawn back. And they have the better structure. They have the better pieces. I am completely offside. I'm not finished my development. And this is actually why. This is why, like, I remember in the game thinking that, for fuck's sake, Michael, like, don't play this bishop b5 and play objectively. Just complete your damn development. So if things go wrong, I have a safety net. So this is kind of like a fear of mine because I realize this is a weakness of mine. Of course, like, one way to deal with it is just, find the fork, win the game, or calculate better. Don't blunder this knight g4. But yeah, like the other parts of me feels like, okay, if I am prone to making these mistakes, get a solid, finish the development, complete the opening first. Sure, I may not get a big advantage, but at least then I can attack, find a way through. If I make a mistake, it won't be so badly punished. This was my thinking. So I don't know what
Okay,
your thoughts
so
are on that.
objectivity, when the position requires you to be active, you should be active.
Yeah,
when it doesn't, it's okay.
Yeah, but then you also get this problem where if you make a couple blunders, then you're not just equal, but you're lost. Whereas if I had already played knight d2, castles kingside, sure, I wouldn't even get to this position, but at least if I then get to this position and then mess up, then I'm not lost. So this is kind of like some paranoia, pessimism from me, but it's also based off of some practical
Yeah, but
relevance.
that means the position either wasn't good enough in the starting place to start some action, or you simply missed something.
Yes.
Now, if you don't take the chance to go in that position, like there is a saying, you miss 100% of the chances that you don't take.
Aha.
So it will be the same like that. You never even tried to use it.
Yeah.
Now, it's good to get to that position where you actually have a chance.
Right. Ah. And Nicholas cut out again, just as we approach this like super philosophical, like correct answer and point. Um, I'm gonna refresh chat just in case like. Aha. Okay. So people joining the chat. Yeah, my stream hadn't refreshed. So hello Michael. Hello Nikola. Um, yeah, b4 is falling. An interesting thematic idea against c4 is a5. Ah, this was in the previous position. Aha. Right, then we can c5. I think I was trying to make this work, but I think I had like a knight on a6 at some point. But yeah, maybe yeah, Nikola. So you cut out like just as the nice speech was in its
It
speech.
was a good conversation, but yeah.
Yeah, I also realized that my chat wasn't updating, so I missed out some missed out some comments. But I think I'm live now. Yeah, yeah. Basically, Stephen just made a point that in the previous position, this pawn structure on the queen side, I should probably have been considering to like try and break it down, maybe maybe around here with like some a5 move to try and weaken the c5 pawn.
Yeah, that's a good note. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you, Steven.
yeah. I don't know at what point, but yeah. And also, Stephen says hi to Nikola.
Hi, Steven.
Ah, thank you for the support, Patrick. Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting. I mean, yeah, this has been a great stream so far. And, okay, many more pieces of advice and notes to make. So yeah, okay. So your point, Nikola, was saying like, yeah, you don't.
Yeah,
Um,
the most important step is
yeah,
the first one where you actually notice whether you should go for the activity or not.
right.
So your opponent either needs to have some weaknesses, like for example b6, and you can play bishop b5, bishop c6, for example,
Yeah,
in this case, or they can play moves that break the principles. So for example, he played bishop e7 and then he played bishop d6. He wastes time. He plays rook a8 to rook b8,
yeah,
also wastes time. Like, yeah, I understand the rook is attacked, but you gain time with that. He
yeah.
reacts to your threats. All of this stuff leads to the position where you actually need to take action. Otherwise, the moment will be gone and the
Right.
game will go on.
But what if your ability to take action is like a 1200? Then is
You
it
should still
worth?
try.
You should still try. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is what I believed in this game, and I mean, I agree with you. I ultimately agree with you. Ultimately, yeah, I need to just not be a 1200 at taking action. And okay, sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not, and yeah,
Well,
it's something I need to work on. But
the basics for beginners and players who are improving, and things that we quite often forget, like me, you, when we play a lot of chess and learn a lot of chess, the basics like checks, captures, undefended pieces, threats.
yeah,
It's very simple. It takes like 2-3 seconds to go through, but we still don't do it.
right,
We consider it too basic, but we
yeah,
should.
yeah. Okay, so this is yeah. Back to basics. Back to basics. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like follow the principles, basics. Chess will be much simpler then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I got into this mess against this 1700 10-year old, and I was thinking, how on earth have I just like completely allowed this position to slip? And okay, I was having these doubts about like if I should be playing so actively, but I agree. Yeah, this of course is what I should do. And okay, it's not lost. Um,
Yeah, but now you're the one who is less active, by the way.
yes. Yeah, no, I for sure. I think I'm definitely worse here. Um, but yeah, I thought b3 was good, and yeah, I wanted to put my knight on c3, which is why I played c4. Um,
I thought to prevent b5 and rook b6.
that possibly as well. I hope so. Yeah, I think there was like
Okay.
some concerns about my bishop as well. So yeah, of course, like I want to give it some escape with this idea. And he takes. Um, yeah, and I do this, and yeah, this comes something. I mean, I literally even think I saw this plan when I played c4. I literally think I calculated this plan where he goes here, and I had the plan to sack. With the idea if queen takes, I can take, and then if queen d1, I can play queen f1.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
I had calculated this, I had played c4, he goes for this, and I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to play rook d1. And in this position, I realize, wait, if I take, and he takes, and I take, and he goes check, and he goes here, what on earth do I do after queen c2?
A good question.
I'm undeveloped. Now I'm dealing with this crap. And I was just thinking like,
Problems.
okay, either I just play this position on, I don't go for it, and I'm just a pawn down. I think in my head I thought I was 2 pawns down, so that doesn't help as well. I thought I'd just lost the second pawn or something. And I thought, okay, this is bad. Or I just go for it and hope that he misses queen c2. Now, thank God I'm not a poker player, because probably I'd lose all my money. And yeah, this is probably a wrong decision here, because I'm not even like that lost. Like, sure, this looks really bad, but okay, it's like not the end of the world. But this really is. And of course, my opponent's not a bad player. Like, he found it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And if you saw it on time, then you shouldn't go for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just ridiculous decision making again. Um, and okay, I had to give up a piece, and my thinking was I moved my bishop and sacked the knight so that at least I can get some counterplay on the c file, and my plan was to just try and shut down the position a bit.
So you're an exchange on a pawn down and send it in a draw.
Yes, I'm resourceful. But the thing is, like, actually, I learned this today. I was studying with my friend Ben, and there was absolutely fantastic chapter in this book called Under the Surface by Jan Marcus, and it was kind of about mentality, and basically, you know what? Actually, I want to read it out. I think it's really good. Let me get
Okay.
this.
I have read that book like 2-3 years ago, maybe, but I don't remember much.
Like, it's actually a crazy, like, I think if I had read this book, this passage before, and if this actually were to sink in, then things would be very different. So he says, very often the better a chess player stands, the worse is the quality of his moves. However, the opposite approach is the right one. Maximum effort should be put into positions with a considerable advantage or disadvantage. So the point he was making in this chapter was basically like, when positions are either much worse or positions are much better, the player kind of relaxes. Or, okay, in the case where they're much worse, they just kind of get demoralized and don't try. Now, for me, I only have half the problem, right? Because when I'm worse, I don't get demoralized, I fight way harder and I fight
You
back.
fight back.
Yeah, every time. Well, okay, not every time when I can't, but like, as in I try every time. That's my point. But when I'm better, I have this huge problem where I'm just like not able to take it seriously enough and kind of take the back foot. And this paragraph is just great, right? So he says, why do chess players lose concentration and interest in a game in which they already have a big advantage? Why do many chess players despair when they are on the verge of defeat and start playing worse than usual? Many chess players play the game with a subconscious psychological goal. They want to prove that they are better at understanding the royal game, and when they gain a big advantage, they consider this goal to be fulfilled and their self-esteem is satisfied. The opponent is already down on his knees, he won't resist for long. And this is so true. Like, I don't know, like, I think maybe it's common for a lot of chess players, but yeah, like, we like board games, right? We like to beat our opponent, and we get this satisfaction when we outplay an opponent. So, but the point is, it doesn't stop there. And yeah, he continues by saying, if you're winning or on the verge of victory, don't think that way. You haven't reached your goal yet. You reach it once your opponent stops the clock. The fact that your opponent is in a desperate situation doesn't mean that he is a weak player. Maybe he has only made one mistake, and you also make mistakes quite often. And even if he has been playing poorly so far, that doesn't mean that he is also going to play poorly in the future. Maybe he will suddenly start defending with energy like a cornered rat. And kind of like this game, right? Like, I kind of disrespect my opponent, right? By even allowing this queen d1, queen c2, which I even saw. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe I
Yeah, you
can be
start
lucky.
defending.
Yeah, and yeah, it's so I actually like this paragraph. These paragraphs, like, it kind of made me realize that I think the situation is almost like a football game, where when you have an advantage in a position, it's a bit like, you have more possession, you have control of the game, you have more shots on target, but you haven't scored. So it can all be for nothing until you actually score the goal and win the game. And I think it's in the same as in chess, where yeah, like, when you've got an advantage, you've got control of the game, you're better, but it doesn't mean anything. Like, there's no result for this. You don't get points for like having an advantage.
Yeah, I say
So
this like with one sentence. The game isn't over until it's over. And that means when you're in a winning position, you shouldn't relax because the game is not over. The opponent can fight back. And when you're in a lost position or much worse, again, the game is not over because the opponent can also make mistakes.
yeah,
So whenever there is some big imbalance in the evaluation, such as one
yeah,
side is better across winning, this is a good sentence to remember.
right. But yeah, I realized, like, I think there are two aspects of this that are really interesting for me. It's like, one is the ego thing. So I think it's definitely for me, like, when I'm on the back foot, I don't want my ego to be hurt where I actually lose a game, and I would even feel even better by winning a worse position, because then I've proved to
Yeah.
myself, yeah, look at me, I can even win a position where I'm lost, right? So it like even feeds into my ego even more, which yeah, I've never even considered like this could be a problem, and it literally is. It literally is. So this is like worth reflecting on. And oh, what was the other point? Yeah, I also think it's reflected in my life in some ways, where I feel like, yeah, if things are going really badly in my life, I fight to not make it bad, right? But when things are going well in my life, I'm relaxed, I'm chilling, like I don't, and sometimes I let it slip as well. I let
Opposite.
the good time slip, and I don't like do work hard enough to keep it. So I think this is reflected in my life, and yeah, I need to know that it's not natural for me to actually do this, and I need to work on this and be more conscious of it. I think this is a really good word that you used about something else, but it applies here as well. I need to be conscious that this is potentially an issue, and I need to try harder to work on it, which I haven't done and I've never done. But now, okay, with under the surface with this tournament, yeah, okay, it's like becoming more obvious to me that this is a problem. Um,
Yeah. Good
yeah,
note.
yeah, and for the record, this is also why, like, I think, like, for a long time now, like, I've been like making this wrong conclusion that I should play like more dodgy openings because I get better results. And in fact, it's true because yeah, I'm good at outplaying my opponent from a bad position because I'm trying harder, I'm playing better chess because this is how I'm wired. And when I get a good position and good opening and a good game, I blunder it away. So I've noticed this, and okay, I play a bit more dodgy openings, I actually get better results. But okay, this isn't the way to go long term because at some point I will play strong enough
Yes.
opponents who won't allow me to come back in these bad openings. So
Yeah,
yeah,
there is a
it's yeah,
sorry to interrupt you. There is a reason why strong players don't play so many dodge openings. The stronger the player becomes, the players, like even if they don't know, I mean his opponents, the actual refutations of those dodgy openings, or how to get into a better position, they can find it over the board because they're stronger. And they became stronger because of playing correct chess. So dodge openings will only work so far. They will
right,
get you only so far. You should play good objective chess if you want to advance in the long term. If
yeah,
you're aiming for quicker improvement, tricks, tactics, go for it.
right, right.
But long term, yeah, as you said.
Yeah, interesting, really interesting. But yeah, I'm very happy to show you how I came back in this game.
Mhm.
Um, so okay, my opponent kept activating. Did he trade? He didn't trade, right? No, which I think was probably, I don't know. It's a different kind of game. Um, I guess this forces me even more passive, which has to be good for him. And I repeat here, just in case he accidentally does a free fold. Of course he doesn't. Um, and yeah, what was my idea with this? I don't quite remember. Um, yeah, so just controlling the back rank. And yeah, I decided to go for this trade. And my reason why was because I saw an idea that maybe, I've got control of this square. Maybe I can try and go for this weakness. This was my kind of like active defense. So I defend my pawn. He goes for the attack. And actually, this is what I told him after the game. I said in this position, um, going for checkmate is probably the wrong plan. Like, probably just push his pawn and win.
Yeah,
But instead, he tries to go for mate, especially with 1 minute on the clock. This is risky. And yeah,
doesn't
I,
have enough resources to do that.
right, yeah, like he plays like some clever move, like right, I can't take because of this, but it doesn't matter. I just play e4, and then I was able to take, and
In chess, sorry to interrupt
yeah,
you. I always say you should play on your strengths. You should identify where you're stronger, on
yeah,
what you're stronger, and play on that. Black
yeah,
has two rooks and a passed c pawn. So black is material up and a passed pawn. Utilizing that together in one plan, push the pawn, the material supports its promotion. Black has no advantage in trying to give a checkmate.
right,
This bishop is defending, this pawn is defending, the king is flexible, running away. Black is not playing on their strength,
yeah,
and that's why the game probably ended in a draw. If the pawn
exactly,
was pushed when you said it should have been, it would have ended in 5 moves.
right, yeah, and yeah. On that note of playing on your strengths, I actually remember um, one of our lessons. It was actually after the Birmingham Open, so this was like 2 years ago. And I remember I played a whole tournament where I didn't play a single game like using my strengths. Like every game, like I would get an advantage, and I just wasn't like I'd have connected pass pawns, and I just leave them, and just like play for something else. And yeah, of course, my results were being affected by it. So I really remembered that, and actually nowadays I'm much better at playing on my strengths. So okay,
Glad
we
to
make
hear that.
progress. We make progress. So this is good. But yeah, okay. I actually don't know why this was a blunder. Maybe I missed some other move. Maybe I don't know.
It's the most practical, whether it's a blunder or
Sure,
not.
sure. Yeah, which is probably more important at this point. And I played this because I wanted to potentially prevent this king escape and create some like counterplay on the king. Like this as well. I don't know if I considered this in the game. Maybe I did. Maybe I did.
That
Maybe
is
this was the
even a
point.
checkmate.
True. Actually, yeah. Could I have done this? Could I have played this?
He at least has rook d5 if things get tricky, but no, there must be something else. Check on f2.
Right, right.
Unlikely.
Yeah. So yeah, I missed this path, but that looks nice. Um, yeah. The exact line I looked at
Yeah.
was I wanted to give like a check, give a check here, and then give a check
And
here.
mate.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I played this, and then with like
He
increments
panicked.
left, he panicked and took. And now,
Yeah. Okay.
and okay, actually, yeah, this was the position you messaged me about where I had like um, G4 here. I remember you
Yes.
mentioned this, and yeah, I don't have enough rook endgame knowledge to know that this is 100% draw. But yeah, you're right. It's just like the Philidor third rank defense, and the pawn
Yeah.
won't
It
be
doesn't matter
affected.
if the pawns are doubled. Um, just to be aware of one difference when there are two pawns. So with a G pawn or B pawn, you can stay with a passive defense. You don't even need the third rank defense, which is
Yes,
quite
exactly.
interesting.
But not
So
with doubled pawns, right?
eh,
I
I
think
think
this
there
should.
is
I think this wins.
There is
black.
one winning position with the double pawns, I think. It was in a tactical form. Okay, I'm just trying to set up the position. I'm not actually looking for checkmate.
Right. I
What
think.
did we do?
Wait. Do you really push the pawn all the way? I'm trying to think what it is. Yes, I think this wins, right? Because we can play this, and we can put the rook here, and now we're able to push. Because there's no longer this trick where you pick up the rook, because now you can block. Ah, and Nikola has disappeared. just as I find something nice. I think this is the point. Although, oh my god, there's stalemate. Wait, this is not it, right? This is stalemate. Ah, man. So what is it? What is the win? I don't know. Let me check chat. Can you please give a study link? Yes. Actually, what I'll do, Kat, is if you can drop your Leechess username, I can add you as a not a contributor just so you can view the study. I feel like writing a score sheet during a rapid game affects your game. Interesting. Welcome back, Nikola. I just thought that I solved this because I thought that we have this, and the point is we can block, but then I missed that, yeah, this is actually stalemate.
This is a draw.
Yeah, so I don't know what the win is.
I think it's only one position, which is like this, and you can play rook of pawn.
Ah, yeah.
Otherwise, it's a draw.
Yeah.
With correct play, it's definitely a draw.
Ah, but I don't. With this position, like once you've gone onto the passive, I think it's winning by force with the double pawns. That's my thought. But yeah,
I'm not sure about
should
that.
probably
I think
be
it's
checked.
still a draw. Yeah, it should be checked.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways.
Anyway, I held this for 100 moves, and I think on the whole my technique was good enough. Like, I cut the king off, and yeah, I then transferred the position into an endgame where, yeah, this was just a draw.
Easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now I'll ask you, do you want to make a small break? Or I need to go like on 2 minutes and you can think about what went wrong in this game.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll also actually, you know what? I'll take a short break myself. I'll add some people to the study who want to be added, and I'll get some food. So maybe we come back in 5 minutes.
Okay, see you then.
Okay, see you then. Okay, so guys, I'm just gonna head out, and we'll be back in 5 minutes. I'll add anyone who wants to join to the study to the study. Okay, see you in like a bit. Yo, guys. So, Nikola's still gone, so I'll wait to properly restart when he's back. But yeah, just to answer one of the questions in chat, I think from Jet. Yeah, basically regarding writing on my score sheet during Rapid, I think I used to also feel the same, but like I prefer writing it down. I mean, 15:10 is like such a short rapid time control, like maybe for 45 minutes each, then I would. But yeah, nowadays I feel like the seconds are too valuable, right? Like even to just write down the move, it's just like every move that's like a couple seconds that takes your attention away from the game. Like maybe this is useful to prevent like blindness, right? Like actually I've never thought about it like that. Like maybe yeah, maybe this is useful um in the sense that like yeah, every time you have to take a break from the board, you look down at your score sheet. Interesting. I don't know if that was your point, Jet, but maybe that could be useful. I mean, I'll ask Nikola what he thinks, but yeah, curious to hear your opinions too. Let me make sure this is all working. I think it is. Um, yeah. So maybe writing down moves could be useful, just for that reason. Yeah, 15:10 is like that awkward time control where it's like it's a little bit too close to blitz, a little bit too in the zone of rapid. Oh hey, hello Nikola. I don't hear
Hey,
you.
I'm back.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and I was just commenting on someone's question in chat. Well, it wasn't really a question, but someone in chat said, I feel like writing a score sheet during a rapid game affects your game, and people were discussing whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, and like my immediate reaction was bad because like you wouldn't want to draw attention away from the chess, and even just every 2-3 seconds on each move, it's not worth it. But
It may
actually,
count in the end.
it may count in the end, but I also wonder whether it would actually be useful for players like me and maybe the person who suggested it, that by taking a break from the game every single move to just kind of reset and then look back at the position, maybe this could be useful just to have a bit of a clear headspace. Because if you're just looking at the board the whole time, maybe you just start to miss simple tactics. I don't know.
It can be useful in critical moments, which are like 1, 2, 3 times per game. That's okay, but to
Every
do
move,
it all the
yeah,
time,
yeah.
it's too much. The focusing,
True.
it's not worth it.
True. I guess you can like yeah, at the critical moments like just look away from the board, which I think you've recommended to me before. Just to clear your headspace. So yeah, probably better ways to do it. Yeah, it's nice. So yeah, conclusions from this game.
Yeah. What went wrong?
Oh God, so much. Okay, so the opening, it was good that I played ambitiously, but yeah, when in a critical position, make sure to consider the basics. What happens after this check? Oh, that shouldn't be a question mark. Yeah, what happens after this check? Yeah, bishop takes d7 should be found. So that was one thing.
No, so I wouldn't put it like to consider the basics in a critical position. You should consider the basics. You should have them in the back of your head most of the time, and yeah, you can think about consciously. In a rapid game, I wouldn't put it on the top priority because you don't have that much time. But in a standard game, for sure,
Right.
you are thinking about this consciously until it becomes unconscious again.
I like that. Yeah.
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 So that's the list that we talked about. A list of, let's say, 3 things that you take on this tournament. You keep those stuff conscious in your mind. You think about them actively. And for example, the next tournament, you don't have to do it already because your mind got used to looking at those things automatically. At some point, they will get integrated into your
Yeah, a bit
intuition.
like the playing on my strengths, right? We had that lesson a long time ago, and then nowadays, like, it's more natural. So, yeah.
There we go. That is the point.
Yeah. But I think some things are just easier than others. So even if it's a basic, which I know it is, like still I think it will be harder to make it subconscious. But yeah, then I just need to make it conscious. Like it's simple. Like I should just do it. So yeah.
Yep.
And then again I had
Okay.
some linear calculation which messed up spotting knight g4. So again, like yeah, make sure to calculate branches in a line, not just linear calculation. I think this was important too. And then okay, I mean after making these mistakes, I think the comeback was pretty nice. Like I don't think I could have asked for much more, and I think I played it well. So probably just these are the biggest issues from the game.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure this is all working.
Okay.
Okay, I think this is all fine. Can you say something again?
No, okay.
Okay,
We can move on.
perfect. Yeah, let's move on. So yeah, this next game. So okay, I'm on 1.5 out of 3. And again, okay, we have e4. So this game, I don't remember so much how the opening went, except that, yeah, I think it was just double-edged, to be honest. Like, okay, he played bishop e3, and
Same system again.
same system again. And here, okay, white is actually doing slightly better without the pawn f4, because then they can make use of the g5 square a bit better. And yeah, maybe like this f5 square is less weak. Maybe they can always play with f3 if needed. So I think it's a bit more flexible. But I found as well that if white actually wants to try and capitalize on anything, eventually they do need to try and play for this break. So it's not so clear. And okay, engine doesn't like this. Again, in this position, like the correct engine, correct way to play is with f6. But again, a very different style of position. And I kind of just wanted to get to some setup. And the reason why I didn't trade a piece was because I wanted to prefer to trade the bishop for the bishop, and I was waiting to see if like they would kick my pawn, kick my bishop with the pawn, and then this bishop is trapped. But yeah, I hadn't seen this move, but I also didn't see it was a big problem. Like I can just drop the bishop back, right? Like I'm not going to allow any kind of potential sacrifices. And
Wait, why do you drop the bishop back? I mean, knight g6, bishop g6 shouldn't really work.
mm-hmm.
And your bishop is not attacked.
True. Well, my logic was I wanted to play this because if we trade bishops, great, and if he moves away, then I can play knight g4 and trade this bishop by force. So I felt like, okay, given the close nature of the position, rather than having to play so quickly and with tempo, I have time to make sure I make the correct exchanges. This was my logic here.
Yeah, but you're trying to exchange pieces, so keep in mind that in order to exchange them, if you're the one who starts it, you will waste more time than your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So already played bishop g4, now you're playing bishop f5, and then you want to exchange the bishop. You played knight h6, again you will spend a move with knight g4, knight f5, depends, and then you want to exchange the bishop which moved once.
Right.
While this side of the board is sleeping.
True. But if there's no way to break through because the position is so closed, then I feel like it's okay.
That is true.
So, yeah.
That is correct, but still, if you can use some time that is available, you should use it.
Right. Better not to take the risk of being underdeveloped if I can avoid it.
Yeah, eventually there will be a fight, and you need to be ready for that fight. By the way, if you take on e3, after fe3, the f file opens up, and the position is already open, kind of.
And this is actually what kind of happens. And yeah, maybe I have some problems with it. And I don't know if it's because of time issues, like if I was underdeveloped because of as a result of the problems. But yeah, I guess we'll see. Maybe this will come back to bite me. You're right.
Just to know, I don't know if that is the case, but being developed will definitely prepare you better for anything that's to come. So
right.
Okay.
Yeah, so I took, and I think he took with the f pawn. Yeah.
Spends so many moves. Bishop f5, bishop d3, knight f5, knight e3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I
And at
guess,
the end of
and
the
the
day,
position has opened. You're right, the position has opened, and yeah, I am underdeveloped.
and this is a target that you gained nothing in return for it. You cannot move it forward. White can double or even triple on the f file.
Mm-hmm.
So with the e5 pawn, white has space advantage there. The knights are there. The queen is aiming on that side. Both rooks will aim on the f file. White is stronger on that side. You cannot play on the side where the opponent is stronger, so you need to play on the other side. And to play on the other side, you need to be faster. You should be already like developed or
Yeah,
have some action started.
right,
And you're nowhere near with that.
right.
So
Yeah,
that's going to be a bit difficult.
and I think then in hindsight, then probably in this position. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I think. Sorry, I think. Okay, we're good. We're good. Yeah. So yeah, I think in this position, then maybe I should just play knight d7, allow this exchange, and then play for this. But okay, this knight is actually very strong, so maybe this is not. Yeah, and you can
You
already play
probably can
e6.
do that, but you can take with the g pawn.
Right.
Now it's a bit tricky because this is weak,
Mm-hmm.
but this all led to, like even here,
Yeah.
like first you play bishop f5, okay, it's not such a problem, but in this case you play knight f5.
Mm-hmm.
Why not, let's say, if you're so worried about this, improve the queen, then improve the knight, and only then play again with your already developed piece.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, because yeah, I mean, ultimately the position did open up, and then I was in some trouble. I think Nikola is cut out again. That's gonna be my guess. Yeah, and then yeah, maybe I'm a bit slow. I'm gonna refresh chat just in case like I'm missing out on anything. I don't think I am. Yeah, so yeah, really interesting point about um, closed positions, and yeah, like it's all well and good like being behind in tempi in a closed position, but only if the position stays closed. If it opens up, then this is a different matter. Okay, welcome back.
I'm back. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So, yeah, I completely take your point. Yeah, like, okay, it's all well and good. Not worrying about tempi in a closed position if it stays closed. But as soon as it opens, then, okay, if there's any chance of it being open, then you may have some consequences. So, yeah, I appreciate this. So I do get some development. I try and get my king safe, and I guess my opponent misses the chance to punish me for this play. And yeah, eventually I do get some counterplay. I think I was considering c5 as well. I don't know why I didn't go for it. I think I wasn't sure if I should be worried about an eventual e4, so maybe I thought that I'd keep this solid for now.
In that way, the bishop on g7 will open up.
True.
So it's a fight where you are also prepared in the center, more or less. All your pieces are here.
Yeah.
That's not a fight that, at least for now, you should lose, unlike on the king side.
Right. Yeah, like when I look at it right now, it feels like the best move to play, but I don't know why. Again, I think I was probably in this mindset a bit like the first game, right? Where I just kind of wanted to sit and wait a bit longer. But I mean, this is probably the wrong mindset here because, White does have active play. Like he's got an open file against a pawn. I can't just sit
Double.
and wait.
Yeah.
So,
A similar thing like in the first game is also what you did on the king side earlier. It was overprotective, being overcautious.
right,
There
right.
was probably no knight g6 or bishop g6, but even if you were afraid of it, play a useful move like queen e7.
A multi-purpose move, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Find a solution which fits in with your plans.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I guess like I was quite slow with his preparation, And yeah, now my move doesn't even work.
You can't
Like,
even play c5 now.
after all of this, yeah. I have to even
Yeah.
go back, like, oh god, I hate this chess. What am I doing? But it's like, I even thought that I played c5, like, when I look at this again, and like, what, I find this move in like 0.1 seconds. It's like, yeah, this is just a problem when I play classical, like, sometimes. It's just like, I overthink, like, what to do. And I think, yeah, I think one of the biggest take-home messages from this analysis so far is just like, be conscious of the principles, be conscious of the basics, and if you're playing something that's just super unprincipled, then yeah, be just like take one
Be
more
aware of
glance.
it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So in the end, okay, I move my knight waste 2 tempi, eventually get c5 to work. Although okay, this is a nice move which I had missed. Um, what was my idea behind this? I wanted to play bishop g5. This was like my solution, which was kind of nice.
Uh-huh.
And
That's
then
interesting. I
we
like
had
it.
this big exchange. I thought I was doing quite well because I thought his e pawns were doubled, so I thought this was nice. But then I realized, this is not so nice because he's got all this pressure on the f7 pawn, and I can't even hold it, right? Because
Yeah,
as soon
rook
as I
f6.
play this, rook f6, and he's gonna take one. So again, this
Okay.
was I guess it's again like not really appreciating like my weaknesses in the position. Okay, like last lesson we had like on in that congress, we okay understood I need to appreciate my strengths. Okay, I need to appreciate my weaknesses more. Like I like this f5 was such a problem and I didn't really think about it. So okay, I try to play actively now,
Yeah, but this
and
is good
yeah,
because you saw that it's falling and you can't hold it. So that ship has already sailed.
yes,
Instead,
yes,
what you do is fight to your like best ability
yeah.
and skills. So you're going for active defense, which is usually preferable.
Right, and I saw this other feature in the position, which is like white still has some back rank issues.
There we go.
So suddenly I had this idea of like with d4, and yeah, he played a check. I was really hoping that he would just like play rook f6, which he did, and I thought I have like winning chances here. Like I thought this was really promising. He didn't see it, but then okay, he found king c1. Um, I took with the
That's
pawn.
probably too optimistic, but yeah, do you see how the tables turned?
Right,
And that's what happens when you play on your strengths.
yeah, and always in rook endgames, active rook.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
So in this position, um, yeah, I took here. And I think, yeah, in this position, I was really uncertain whether I should take and try and keep these pawns, or whether I should play here and try and go for this. And actually, a very simple move, which I overlooked, which I don't even know if is the right answer. But I think I was trying to hope for too much. I was hoping that I'd be able to take and give a check and come down here and start winning the pawns. But I don't think I have the time because I think in the game I took.
Okay.
Yeah, this is too ambitious, way too ambitious. Like trying to hold on to everything. Like I should just already go for this. But yeah, I played this and then suddenly now it doesn't work because now he plays this and I'm not in time to actually get my rook active. And I
Mhm.
think in this position, I thought I'd be able to
Yeah.
win one of these pawns by attacking from the front, but I actually don't.
Yeah, no, that's a
So
bit difficult.
yeah. So I think in this position, maybe taking is fine, but I should definitely give this check and maybe at least start winning these pawns. I think this would have
Yeah,
been the better path, but
seems like best chance.
yeah. But it was weird. I don't know. I don't know. Like I just wanted everything in the position. I overlooked that he can just play this move. And yeah, I then played this, which is just not working, and now I'm going to lose time, right? I'm going to lose even more time. And
Hmm.
yeah, I went back. Okay, I don't know what was missed. What even? Why did I play king d6 even? Yeah, I guess this.
Defend the e6 pawn.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't want to trade rooks, so I'm going to need to defend. Okay, yeah, this makes sense. Yeah, and then basically I got this chance to play b5, which I think was
Well,
good.
one question. Why
Yeah.
not king e4?
Yeah, prevent the white king from being active, right?
Yeah,
I
and you
mean,
should be the
I mean,
most
maybe I'm
annoying
worried about this.
opponent. Yeah, I don't know how this will turn out. I'm thinking of giving up the pawn, but it
Uh-huh.
might be too much.
What, and go for this?
Yeah, he has rook e3 check back. Yeah, okay. In this case, if I have to play king f5,
Right.
yeah, okay, this may not work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I agree with your move.
Yeah. So this was good. And again, I get to a pawn endgame like rook and 3 against rook and 2. Okay, this one's quite different. But yeah, this move was so bad, I think. Like, here, okay, the main principle in this endgame should be I need to keep my rook as active as possible. And I think maybe for that reason is rook... I think my logic was maybe rook b4 is good. Because then I just kind of prevent this king from ever getting active. But I'm kind of realizing that maybe my fear was that they can just push g4 anyway. Like if I take, they take, and they
They can.
still get this pawn, and maybe the rook's not doing so much here. So my idea was to play this
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and just try and limit this pawn. And I guess maybe the rook's pawn is like less winning chances than the g pawn. Is that true? Do you think or
I'm not sure, to be honest.
right?
There is something about the pawns being closer together, but this is an H pawn, so I don't know. Maybe
Hmm.
this is a very
Wait,
specific
what was the
position.
thing about the pawns being close together? Like it's a better thing or a worse thing?
Something's gonna be better
Better
for
when
the
the
defending side.
okay for the defending side.
Yeah.
Okay, so more chances to hold the closer the pawns are together.
Yes.
Okay.
But also you have a pawn here as black. The pawns are closer, the white pawns, I mean, so you can your pieces are nearby. Let's say your king can go both to either the left or the right pawn, depends.
Right.
It's a bit difficult also in the exact position, like it depends.
Hmm. Yeah, so I guess like my what I kind of realized now was that actually the white king has got active, and this is where the king wanted to go. So I think yeah, if I like found a way to make it harder for the white king to get active, this would have been ideal. But now the king has got active, and yeah, this is just a really bad move. I think I can just already start being active with my king, make use of my one single strength in the position,
Yes,
and try to make something work. And this
try
is
your
just
best.
such like what is this move?
You literally blocked your own pawn.
Blocked my king, blocked my pawn, like oh god.
Self-sabotage at its finest.
Yeah. Yeah. But okay. So I make this move. I guess my opponent doesn't capitalize on it, gives me a chance to do something, I just go back. And please say I move the king. But the problem is I can't. Yeah, I played this one, right? I tried to be tricky, right, with this trick.
Yeah, check.
Yeah, always try for some trick. Okay, he didn't mess up. And now, please say I pushed the pawn, right? Because push the pawn, he still can't take because of his check. Please say I pushed the pawn. Oh, and it's a blunder. It's a blunder. Okay, so I'm still making the same mistakes. I can just take this, right? If he takes here, then I can give a check. But then is that... No, I'm probably lost. This is how I lost the game. Because my king is cut off. So...
3 lines. That's the rule.
Really? Okay. I don't know the rule. So that's good to know the rule. So basically you're saying like 1, 2, 3 from the pawn.
Yeah,
Then it's
I'll need
lost.
to check, but yeah, it was 3 or 4. I think it was 3. I think so.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so okay. Pushing the pawn is a blunder, which is... Okay, I'm still making that mistake. So what could the right move be? Maybe the point is like... No, I don't know actually. Yeah, I thought maybe this is the point to like make sure that everything defends, and maybe now this can't be played as easily because I can give a check. Whereas I think if I
Yeah,
push the pawn, then somehow the pieces can attack my pawn and I can't defend
Yeah,
everything.
it was a position where neither side could make progress.
Right.
Your rook was active, your pawn on h4 was stopping these two.
Yeah.
Uh, the rook was putting pressure on b3, so this rook had to defend it eventually. And yeah, this king defends this one.
So interestingly enough, despite,
Uh,
like this pawn looking good, like pushing this pawn, get this pawn going, keep this king like more active. In fact, this move is actually activating the rook in the defense.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, but yes.
Yeah.
And
And it's just
defends
a
the pawn.
more, yeah, exactly. Like now there's moves like this, right? The rook is just more active. It can therefore defend better. So
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
the logic. Yeah, man.
Yeah, we just go back, and that's
Oh,
it.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I push the pawn. He just brings the rook in. I mean the king in. He then plays this, and here I make another terrible move. I think, or maybe not yet. No, I hit the pawn. He pushes the pawn, and by pushing it only one square, I actually have a huge chance in this game. All I need to do is play rook e2, defend my pawn, and then I can start pushing, and then I've got a chance. But I think in this position, I play this.
Yeah.
And now, okay, actually I thought the idea is he should just take, but I guess this is smart as well. I can't take the pawn. I push the pawn, and we just get this exchange, and the point is his rook is now the one that is cutting off my king, and I'm lost, which I didn't realize. So
Yeah, that's a
basically in
small
this
issue.
position, it's like it's almost like, like in a position where you're worse, you don't want to trade pieces. And okay, I know in general pawns you want to trade, but in this situation, this is more than a pawn. This is like an actual proper piece that is going to give me a chance. And right now I've got a 1 versus 2 ratio, which means I've got some chance. And suddenly if I trade these, I've got 0 versus 1. Like what do I expect?
A draw.
Yeah, but not gonna happen.
Hey, your king is on d3. That's weird. Like,
Yeah,
if it
exactly. If my
was
king is
better
over here, then
placed,
yeah, of course.
yeah, it's an easy draw, but not the case.
Yeah. So the thing is, the king is active only with combination of the pass pawn. And if the king is only active with the pass pawn on the board, what am I doing trading it? Like, yeah, like it's crazy. It's crazy. Just keep the pawn, push the pawn, and hope. And who knows? I think this position's even a draw according to Engine, if I remember right. So yeah, another mistake.
It's possible.
And yeah, and now maybe even here I can still play this, and I've got some hope of coming back. But maybe now the rook's more active. Maybe
Probably
it's
not. There
less.
is a check, so yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. So basically, I did this,
Okay.
and I got this endgame. And okay, I played for some tricks because in this position, I played this move, hoping for like some like king here, and then I can take
Mm-hmm.
and draw, which is like a tactic that I've missed before. So I'm glad that at least I'm seeing this now. But yeah, my opponent didn't mess up, played it nice and safely.
Yeah, the issue is your king is cut off on the fourth rank,
Right.
not on like some file, FE files.
Uh-huh.
That's why I lost.
Yeah, and I've lost a game like this before. I remember I played in Serbia. I was playing in, I think, in IAM, and from the opening I was like pure pawn up. The engine was like +3. I went to a rook endgame, pawn up like +2, +3. I then went for the wrong plan. Sacrificed my pawn for initiative, which then failed, and then I even put my king on the wrong side of this pawn, and then lost. So like, I at least
So
can
many
spot
things.
when this is a mistake. Like the king needs to be on the side where I'm like trying to defend this pawn. But in this position, okay, it's a bit different because I had a pass pawn, right? So I wanted to use my king to activate my pawn, which is fine if I keep the pawn. But if I trade the pawn, then of course my king is going to be misplaced and then I lose. So yeah, some poor decisions, and lost this game. But yeah, I think again, you see how Nikola, like my strongest suits are when I have a bad position. Like I think like when I have a position like this, right, where I'm worse, but I find a way. I know, like, okay, I spot when I'm worse really quickly, and then I can find a few accurate moves to try and come back. So, but of course, this isn't enough to draw or win a game. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I think this game, I'm trying to think what went wrong. I think, yeah, you're right about the tempi in the opening. I think I'm being a bit too careless with this, given that the position can open up. Also, yeah, I should consider the fact that when I take on e3, the position does open up. I don't think I even considered how it opens up, like, which is really silly. And yeah, this rook endgame decision around here. Yeah, like deciding between like these moves, like. I think I was trying to be too ambitious in the position. I think I was trying to win. And I realized Nikola's cut out again. But yeah, I was trying to be too ambitious and trying to play for the win when it's not objective to play for the win. So, so maybe be objective with what result you're playing for. So this is rook d5 check, rook d2 check is much safer of a plan than king d7. So this is the first thing. Welcome back. Closed. Be careful with a closed position opening if we are tempi down. Yeah, so far, Nikola, I've said one thing is be objective with the result you're playing for, because I think like on the move I'm on right now, I didn't play like rook d5, rook d2 because I was afraid that it might be too drawish. And okay, like if it's like on the better side of equality compared to like a very risky kind of winning attempt with king d7 where I don't get my rook active, yeah, like this is obviously to be preferred. So I think
you're definitely playing for a draw in this position.
Right, which wasn't clear at all. I think I was still like, okay, I'm gonna win this. So being objective is important.
Too optimistic, yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna refresh the chat just because I haven't seen any comments in a long time. So I have a feeling maybe this is my problem. Or maybe not. Maybe people are just enjoying the video. Yeah. But yeah, and then the second one I put was like be careful with a closed position opening up if we are tempo down. So
yeah.
Also, so as a result, then also be careful with playing too slowly, cash maneuvering before development in a closed position. This is only fine if the position stays closed. And also we had another case again of play the most principled moves c5 instead of knight b6 waiting around. Yeah, so I played knight b6 just like kind of just wanting to wait, not commit to a plan, and this is just like, you know, wrong when my opponent has clear play on the f-file. So I think this is another really important point.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I think those 3 points are probably the most important for the game, unless I'm missing something.
There are some patterns repeating, but we will summarize at the end.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we move on then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should aim for these two and finish day one.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So okay, I play my c3 repertoire again. And this time my opponent plays e5, which I'm very glad to see because this is the most un-e5-like position that we can get in chess because I played d4. Okay. And we have a Queen's Gambit exchange from e5. So a nice transposition, opponent definitely grumbling a bit. Okay, so I played knight c3, he plays knight f6. And actually, yeah, the reason why c6 is the main move in this position is because on knight f6 I can play bishop g5. But for purposes of my prep, I wanted to play both on c6 and knight f6 the same move. So just understand the structure with bishop f4 a bit better. Okay, one day maybe I can look into bishop g5, but this also makes sense. Okay, my opponent plays a terribly slow move in the opening. And okay, I play queen c2 because I'm trying to limit the development of these bishops. I trade. I play h3, so now I'm covering f5, I'm covering g4. So this is my plan.
bishop.
Yeah, and this is the last moment where black can play g6, where he can play bishop f5. But the problem is now I can play e3, and now g6 is too slow because they can't even play bishop f5 because of bishop d3. So now I have something, and okay, he plays c5. So okay, it's probably yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you're playing a move such as h3 when all your pawns are still on the second rank. I mean, like your pieces are undeveloped, and to develop this bishop, you need to move a pawn.
Right.
So if black aims to strike in the center or do something, now seems to be an appropriate time.
Right.
That means c5, or yeah, even castle and then c5.
Yeah, and I guess this time I'm a bit less developed to deal with like potentially black pushing.
Or this also.
Right.
You can get into quite a few problems in this case.
Maybe I can play e3?
Maybe.
I'm very quick development.
Yeah, I can go for d4.
Yeah, and then maybe I have nothing, right?
Yeah, it's equal. Probably will exchange everything and equality. But here you probably need to play. No, okay, you will put the knight on d4.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, then I guess I will need to play d4. Or even knight d4. It's also interesting. Bishop f5.
Yeah, okay. I see your point. I see your point.
Yeah, so be careful when you, again, break the principles.
True, true. Because I'm normally used to this position without the knight on f6 and the pawn on c6. So, and this is probably why then, against this knight of 6, then there's this like theory of bishop g5, right? Like kind of limiting this piece from activity. So, yeah, okay, interesting. I'll have to consider this. And I mean, this is even when my opponent's wasted a tempo. So let's imagine that he doesn't waste a tempo and plays like this. Am I really able to play a move like I'd probably want to play queen c2 here and play h3, which I'm probably going to get smashed.
Probably.
Yeah, so really good to see this. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so okay. I end up playing like this. He plays c5 maybe one move too late. I end up being able to get knight f3 in. And I end up being able to get rook d1 in. And because he hasn't been able to, I think rook e8 was not great as well. I can just play bishop e2. I get my king safe. And now I'm just...
should have went for knight e4 earlier to at least create a weak pawn on c3. In return for your weak pawn on d5. And for his pawn.
And how do you feel about me ever taking this knight? I don't know when.
Well, I'm saying about when it wasn't possible. Like
here. Yeah.
Right. Because once you consolidate the position like this, it's already a bit trickier for him to find some concrete tactic. Your king is safe.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, so, yeah, I just aimed to trade the pieces off, and then he just blundered. So, I just won a pawn. And after this, the position just slowly collapsed. I think I played it quite well, just putting all my pieces on like active squares, make sure everything is secure, try and trade off the pieces, improve my pieces. And yeah, I thought here he might try and do a sacrifice to get something, but I'd calculated it, made sure there's nothing. And yeah, in this position, I played knight b6. He ran out of time, and I was planning to just take a pawn and take with the rook and just be better.
Okay, overall, this is a very clean game, and you won your opponent without allowing any counterplay. So, this is perfect.
Yeah.
The only note that I can say is about the move h3.
Right.
When maybe if black used the moment, there is equality somewhere. I didn't say anything more. Maybe the
Right.
engine will say that. But yeah, otherwise this is very good. Great. Okay.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll definitely make a note on this, and yeah, so be careful with slow moves in the opening if the opponent is more developed and can try a quick attack. So look out for h3 moves. Yes, we prevent the light squared bishop from developing, but h3 itself is not developing and could come under immediate fire. So I think this is like really interesting, which I haven't been considering at all. I've just been like, he's got nothing. I'm just gonna like just prevent my opponent from getting to these optimal squares. And of course, yeah, it's still an unprincipled move. So yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to explain one more thing. It's because of the IQP also. When there is an IQP like that on d5, uh, the player with that isolated pawn should play on activity. And when there are dark squared bishops on the board also, for example, a kingside attack may be possible. Like, let's say on this diagonal, just for as an example.
Yeah.
But if that's not the case, then still activity is required. So the moves such as d4 or knight c6, knight b4, which I mentioned after when the queen was on c5, all of those ideas are basically doing something, hopefully. If there isn't anything, then black should just aim for equality with d4.
Right.
Maybe that is the best way to use your slow move. Otherwise, if black doesn't use the moment, it will happen like what happened in the game.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll definitely keep this in mind. Okay. So yeah, at this moment, I mean, I'd made like a goal for myself in this tournament to try and look at each game on its own, like not think about the whole tournament situation, because I remember, again, this is something we discussed once upon a time where like it was getting in my head.
Okay.
And yeah, so I wanted to try and just, not to worry about the result, just focus on the game. So, I got this opponent, and I was actually feeling very good about getting this opponent because, okay, I've never played her before, but I know that either side of my board, the 1800, 1700 opponent sitting opposite was an underrated junior who's much, much stronger. So I was like, okay, I get to play an adult who I know is probably closer to her level. So that was my mindset going into this game. We actually had a nice chat as well because, she's like a mutual friend of one of my friends. So yeah, we just had a nice chat, and then okay, we play. So finally, d4, knight of 6, Benoni. And here she plays knight of 3. And it's actually been a really long time since, for some reason, everyone online is always just playing d5 and no one's declining like this. But I thought, okay, like it's been a while as well, but I'm down to play a hedgehog. I'll remember how to play. And she plays queen takes, and I haven't seen this move like hardly ever. And I think, okay, maybe her idea is that I hit knight c6. She puts the queen on h4. Maybe some idea with trying to develop and pressure. Not too sure. I felt like I've seen this idea before, but when the knight is on c3 and the pawn is on c2. So this makes more sense because then white can still castle queenside. But with the pawn on c4, it feels like, yeah, it's going to be too weakening. So, okay, anyway, this was like just, I didn't spend any time thinking about this. This is just like my thoughts.
I'm not sure. Don't take my word exactly because I haven't seen queen d4 much. I know it exists as an idea, but in this particular position, at least maybe you can play d5 next and you have equalized.
Yes. And okay, maybe after queen h4, I'd have to check. Probably can as well. But yeah, she played queen d1. And here, yeah, I considered...
queen d1.
Yeah. I mean, I considered doing this, but then I thought there's no reason to even give her anything with knight c3, e4 and have some Maroczy bind. So I thought, okay, d5 just has to be good. And I took with the queen.
D5. Yeah.
Yeah, and she even took. And now I'm just more active. Like, I have the white pieces now, at least. So she plays e4. I put my knight here with another threat. She has to awkwardly defend with knight a3. So I'm like, okay, her pieces are being misplaced. I'm gaining time. I've got a great position. I wanted to continue developing. And in this position, she moves the same piece twice in the opening. So breaking principles. So I'm feeling really good.
You're developing with tempo, let's say.
Exactly. And yeah,
So,
I felt like this castles was a good decision. Like, yeah, maybe I could try castle on the king side, but I thought, yeah, they're so underdeveloped that my king's safety is probably, it's okay, it's good enough. Let's just keep up the pressure. F3. And here was my first inaccuracy. And to be honest, I actually didn't understand the engine move. So engine was suggesting that I should play bishop e6. But to me, it just feels a bit awkward to block my pawn and maybe
it was
even,
natural.
yeah, like even trade off this light squared bishop where the white pawns are on light squares. So I didn't see a problem with bishop h5 because g4 I can always play like this and eventually come back. So this was my logic.
Mm, maybe. It's a bit far because I'll also put the bishop on c4. I will not move. I will not play g4, let's say.
Uh-huh.
Bishop e6 doesn't even come to my mind in this position because it's just an engine move. That's probably the correct move because the engine is still an engine.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even consider maybe bishop e6. I'm not sure. I
Right.
did consider, however, to play e5 here
So now you can
and,
play bishop e6.
and then to play bishop e6. This was actually my main choice instead of castling
I see. I see.
because I'm working towards improving this bishop. I'll have to play e5 sooner or later. I'm not
Mm,
winning anything concretely by castling,
yeah.
so I will first play e5.
Yeah. And I think actually, I don't know why I'm remembering it like this, but I think you gave one of my students a lesson that you covered for me, and you gave him a piece of advice, which I think then they told me, which was like you should choose um, the move that you definitely definitely helps your position. I
No, it's something like you should prioritize your moves. Like, let's say,
Yeah, the prioritize exactly. Yeah. That
I'm
was
sure that I
yeah.
will play castle like 80, 90%, but e5, I'm sure that I will play
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
So
That's
first I will
yeah.
play e5.
Yeah. Yeah, play the moves that you know you need to play. This is what I meant to say.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
As I said, I will play castle except if it wins something on the spot,
Right.
like knight d3 or something, but it doesn't. So that's why.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess
Okay.
then now my bishop's a bit slower to get back in the game. And yeah, uh, in this position, I saw knight d3 was good, so I just went for it. But I could have
No,
done
the
better.
same piece. Be careful.
Aha. Yeah, I wonder what e5 would be. I mean, e5 I guess is like principled. Apparently, knight d4 is good, and I guess even though this is moving the same piece, maybe we're gaining some time on this bishop.
It's a double attack.
And this as well. Yeah.
Bishop a4, you have knight d3.
Right. And
But
that's
okay, that is
what, yeah, that's what I missed actually. I thought bishop a4 and I didn't really see the point. But yeah, I didn't see it like this.
that's a tactical way.
Yeah.
That's why you have that kind of question mark on your move.
Hmm.
But
Okay, so Nikola cut out. I can predict what he's going to say. He's going to say e5 is correct because, yeah, it makes sense, right? Like, why move the same piece twice when we can develop the rest of our pieces and control the center? It's like, ah, I tell my students this every single day, and yet I then fail to do it. So I think probably the biggest take home from this tournament is just like, stick to the bloody principles, man. Like, come on, like, just what what would you tell your students in this position and just play that move? Like, it's really not hard. Yeah. I don't know the Janowski Queen's Gambit defense, Lucas. Maybe you can tell me what those lines are. And yes, SSF chat should be working. Thanks for broadcasting this lesson, by the way. Very interesting. No problem. No problem. I'm glad it's helpful. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely helping me. And for the record, yeah, if any of you are interested in like getting a lesson with Nikola, I've put his Lichess profile in the description, so you can probably let me know if that works. But yeah, like definitely check that out. Yeah. So Aha, welcome back, Nikola. And yeah, I assume that you were going to say e5 is the correct move because we control the center, we develop a piece, we don't move the same piece twice.
Yeah, and d5 you're going to play anyway.
Yeah,
Knight d3, it will stay still because king e2,
yeah.
you have knight d4.
So before we continue, Nikola, like I would say like maybe maybe I'd say like 70% of the stuff, like the things that I need to work on and improve are things that I know already. I'd say 20% is probably things that I know already but forgot. Like to take as a mistake, like I completely forgot about that slogan. So like some things I've forgotten. And maybe 10% is like new stuff that I haven't considered. But when there's like such a large percentage of like 90% of things that I already know, yet I'm like committing these sins. Okay, one solution is to be more conscious about it, and I will definitely try this. But again, it's also not like just one or two things I need to be conscious about. It's like 10 things I need to be conscious about. So,
Mhm.
any more
It
advice
is,
how I can improve on this, or it's just
yeah, it's actually the same thing as with these moves.
mhm.
How do you know whether you will play castle or e5?
Well, okay, the one that I know that I will need to play.
Yeah, you prioritize.
Yeah.
So also like in this case, you make a list of the
Uh-huh.
things that you need to be conscious about during a tournament.
Yeah.
And in this case, let's say you put three things on that list because you can only take so much things with you in your mind consciously because
Yeah.
you also have millions of other thoughts.
Yeah.
So those three thoughts, now you need to think about this, let's say for a day or two, and then get back to me. But just to give you an example, let's say the most occurring theme of all these games was that you are breaking the principles.
Mhm.
So maybe you will say to yourself next time while you play, am I breaking any principles by playing this move? If
Mhm.
no, perfect, play it. If yes, do I have justification for it?
Mhm.
If yes, play it. If no, think again.
Yeah.
That's just one thing on the list.
Right. And I like the idea of like prioritizing which things need to be conscious because of course, yeah, you can't just fix everything, but like okay, fix the most important things, make them subconscious, and then fix the next three important things, and then that will become subconscious, and slowly but surely, yeah, we hopefully will
Yes,
improve on this. So
it's
I
a
like it.
process. It won't happen overnight.
Yeah.
You need to have that list, consciously think about it while you play a tournament. That means also play online, play a tournament, use that knowledge.
Yeah.
Only then it becomes unconscious, and only then you change the list to something else.
Yeah.
It's a long process, but again, there is nothing overnight. So,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
okay.
Um, which is just wild to think like online like I've reached heights like in the last few months of getting to like 2500 in ratings when I've never been able to do this before, and this is like playing like with all of these mistakes, right? So I think it just means that also like there are certain strengths of mine that have improved a lot and certain ways of thinking that have improved a lot, and that is what's carrying these results. But yeah, like okay, I guess this is also promising then because if I can do these basics as well, then yeah, we're gonna see even more heights. Like yeah,
Yeah, like much better. Everything that you did will stay,
mm,
and like the stuff that you need to fix, you already know, and they're actually quite simple.
yeah,
So yeah, I
this is
mean,
nice.
it's not something scientific that you need to fix in order to improve.
Yeah,
Fixing simple stuff will improve your chess by a lot,
yeah,
at least according to these games.
right. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so I played the same move twice, which probably isn't a good idea. And in fact, my rook, even though I had ideas that, okay, this is good because then I can double it like with tempo, but actually, yeah, I'm not developed, so I'm not going to be able to double it with tempo, and this rook is just going to be harassed probably. And yeah, in this position, probably king e2 should maybe be better because then they can develop faster, connect their rooks faster with tempo. But instead, okay, they castle. I finally play e5.
Yeah, by the way, castling in an endgame, it's usually not great at least
Yeah.
because the king should stay in the center
And
where there
now,
will be some more activity, and in the corner,
yeah,
definitely not. I mean, for a potential pawn end game or like one or two pairs of pieces, the king is way out of the game. You
yeah,
already have a big advantage just because of the kings,
yeah,
not to mention the other pieces, of course.
yeah. And then this was actually a good move too. Like just kicking, according to Engine at least. Maybe like principally speaking, I should be starting with f6 and rook d8 before playing b5. But
Yes. Uh, Principally speaking, I was surprised a bit when you said this is a good move, and
right,
then you said it's according to the engine.
yeah, yeah.
B5, what's your idea? He has to play knight a3.
I think that was the idea, and then I actually took this knight, which I think is wrong. Like,
So you give up the bishop pair.
yep,
Now, here in this position, I would play the move a6.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, this is correct. And then I just play f6, rook d8, improve the bishop, and yeah, this is great because I mean, yeah, sure, I can double these pawns, but ultimately this knight is just so bad. It's just so bad. Like,
Yes, and at the end of the day, if my intention wasn't to double the pawns and give up the bishop pair in the process and weaken my king also and on the open c file, so already several things to be noted,
yeah,
then that means that if I need to play a move like a6, okay, the knight is limited, so that's a good thing, which is why this can work possibly. I kind of don't like this, but
mm,
it's not a problem. It's a bit far to get the rook to c1.
yeah,
Then I would immediately do the things that I would have done anyway, which are
yeah,
f6, bishop f7, and rook d8.
hmm,
Probably starting with rook d8.
yeah,
That is the difference.
yeah. And this was the way to go, but instead I give up my lovely
Nice.
active piece. Yeah,
Yeah.
for a knight that is terrible. And okay, oh god, I play another. Yeah, see, I'm not following the principles. Like, it's so good that we're having this lesson because, like, what a stupid move. Okay, no, I didn't play. I thought I played knight d4. Now I thought I played knight d4 here, but yes,
Uh-huh.
okay. Yeah, engine gives us dubious because I seem to remember that it wanted f6 first, which also makes sense. Like,
Yeah, but to prioritize f6 or rook fd8, I wouldn't say it's a mistake.
okay, yeah. But
It,
then here,
it's nonsense.
f6 is the move to get the
Yes,
bishop back
my
in the
bishop
game,
is...
solidify the center,
There
and
we
then
go,
instead
logic.
I move the same piece twice.
Yeah, I'm tired of repeating this.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm tired of making these moves. I mean, luckily, like I have a tournament. I'm playing in Oslo, in 10 days, and I'll have two Blitz tournaments, one Rapid. So if I don't get this shit together, like I swear to God, like so hopefully some
Keep in
improvements.
mind that thinking cautiously about this stuff in Rapid, it may be possible, but in Blitz, it may be even counterproductive. Let's say if
Right.
it's on 3 minutes, especially, because you don't have that much time to think about whether this breaks
Yeah.
principles, then whether I
But
should do
I'm
it.
I'm determined to make it work because this stuff, like I know I can do and I have done in the past. I don't think it's gonna be too difficult to bring it back. I think it's just like it's been so long since I've like, you know, done it that I've just forgotten to do it. But I think it should come back. Like what I think I'll do is I'll try practice. Like I've got 10 days, right? Like I haven't played any online chess in the last like 2 3 weeks. Like I just haven't had any time. But okay, I will make the time. I will just play some online chess and give it a go. Like see if I can actually follow principles and see because yeah, like this needs. I want this to
Yeah,
improve. Like this is ridiculous.
I think you understood me, but just to say my point that
Yeah.
in Blitz, you have very little time, so it's best to use it in some other way.
Sure.
But I
Sure.
think you understood the point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. I took here. Um, and they took back, and now I played f6.
Finally, we have to play it now.
Finally, yes. Um, and then they gave a check, and they played b4, which then allowed my bishop a nice square.
I
And
see.
you might ask yourself, how did I lose this game?
You
Uh,
lost?
I lost. Yeah. And yeah, this is what
Very
I
good
mean.
question.
Like, yeah, there's no position that is too winning for me. Like, I can lose any position. It's unbelievable.
How
So,
did you lose this?
the same way I lost, if you remember in Sunny Beach, Bulgaria, like the first time we met, I lost so
Yeah.
many games. I lost two opposite colored bishop positions and endgames because I was trying too hard to win. Same thing happened again. And it
Hmm.
took like losing like maybe five, six of these like positions to finally draw one against like a decently strong player because I was like, okay, for God's
Yeah.
sake, I'm not gonna like over push. And okay,
I remember. Yeah.
it's been a long time, and I decided to break some principles. You're gonna see, yeah, this is very very terrible. So basically, in this position, I think my opponent blunders here. Yeah, she plays a4, and I'm not calculating. Like, so you can see, like, this is day 49, right, of these streams. And in the majority of the streams, I'm training tactics, visualization, calculation, doing like difficult exercises like pass pawn exercises as well. Yeah, win a pawn. That would be nice. I didn't even see it. I didn't even consider it because I'm only looking positionally, thinking that, okay, I don't want to ever dislodge this bishop. I'm just going to play a6 and just
Hmm.
play it instantly. And I guess this is like maybe some blitz intuition, but okay, like, I can look at the check, which I'm not
You
doing.
played it in like 1 second.
Yeah,
So again, forced moves, checks, captures, threads, things like that. Second thing is what I said in the beginning of this lesson is before a rapid tournament blitz, even for a standard tournament, it's good to train tactics like at least like 15, 30 minutes per day. It will get your mind in shape like better to be able to spot these tactics almost instantly.
right. But the thing is, there's a difference here because even if I can spot it in the training, I'm not looking. Like, even if there was a free queen, I would miss it in this position because I'm not looking. Like, I'm just looking at, okay, there's something going on here, how to deal with this. Like, I'm not looking at the whole board. So I need to find a way to, like, look for tactics and calculate. Like,
I agree to that, but also what I'm saying is, uh, I'm not saying you should train some heavy tactics puzzles, things like that. I'm saying two, three movers.
right.
So you get your mind to automatically look for two, three movers.
True, true,
That
true.
also includes one moves. So when there is a4 on the board, like immediately when it happens, your mind will not say like, how do I deal with a4? It says, how can
Right.
I win?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you will look
Okay.
for a win
Yeah.
first, and only then how can I deal with this, which
Yeah.
is
And I guess that's what I'm understanding as well. Is like, in these streams when I'm practicing this tactics and calculation, I'm finding like some great answers and finding some great tactics and great calculation. And this is not the problem. The problem is the two free movers, as you said. So, yeah.
the three
Okay.
movers, yes.
I
Those
will.
decides the game,
Yeah.
decide the game also.
I will make a note like practice two free movers on stream. Two free move tactics on stream. This needs to become
Especially before a
intuition.
tournament. You said you have Rapid and Blitz coming up.
Yeah,
Definitely a thing to do. Don't calculate like 5, 10 moves ahead. Two, three movers.
two free movers. Okay, yeah. I will take this on board and try and do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I played a6 in this position. Um, and the funny thing was, in this position, I calculated that if my opponent plays rook a1 to try and take the a file. Oh, sorry, I played rook a8 here, and my idea was that I calculated if rook a1, I would be able to win a pawn by force because I can take and then play rook a3. And the point is, if white plays rook f1 to defend, then I've got rook b3.
Rook b3, yeah.
And if they play bishop b2, then I can just play rook b3. And I saw this and she played rook a1. But unfortunately, actually, there's an even nicer move, which is just to play rook a4. And if I just play rook a4, then I threaten to win the pawn anyway. And if they trade,
Yeah.
then I get this huge, huge pawn. But yeah, again, like I didn't consider any candidate moves. I just saw a way to win a pawn, and I just went for it. And the thing is that, because I was so dominating in this game, I kind of felt like, okay, it's like my my right to be able to win this pawn and be better, I stopped looking properly. And in this position, I just took the pawn, and I completely missed this move. And
Counterplay.
it's not like the end of the world, but this is scary. And the thing is, I think like I must have panicked at this point because I'm, 5 minutes less than
Bad
my opponent.
experience
Yeah, and
with these types of positions. Yeah.
uh-huh. And my logic in this position was, I don't even know what my logic was. I remember my logic. So I was trying to find like what is the correct setup that I need in this position in order to give myself the best chance. And I decided on a setup to play rook b3, use the bishop to limit the rook, and then use the king to protect my final pawn, and then try and make progress with my pawn. This was my plan. But in actual fact, I completely overlooked a simple two-mover, which is just to not put my rook blocking the pawn, which of course is also principled. But now, in this position, I've got rook a6. And I'm not losing two pawns, I'm just losing one. And my pawn is free to run. My rook can get behind the pawn.
Driver's seat. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, in this position, I didn't see it, but like I know that okay, if you've got a passed pawn, where does your rook belong? It belongs behind. Oh, that defense, like I can see this, but yeah, I think in the moment I was too flustered. I was like, oh my god, I've allowed counterplay, and I shouldn't be panicking.
You are caught by surprise, I think.
Yeah, and I go for this setup, but actually it's no good because like it's just so, like all my pieces are tied up, like nothing can work, and it just gets worse. But in fact, actually, she even messes up. Like this was like a good plan, I guess, to win a pawn, but actually, yeah,
You have counterplay.
I have counterplay with this pawn, and the thing is, in this position, I realized that, these pawns are running, my pawn is passed, and there is the principle. You use your king to support your own pawn, and you use the rook to stop your opponent's. So all I need to do in this position is play rook f1, stop this pawn pushing, the bishop stops this pawn pushing, I've got my own passed pawn, I may still be even in the driver's seat, or at least I'm holding this, because at least the rook is supported by the bishop, the king is cut off. But yeah, all of this... Okay, I see Nikola's disconnected again. So d4, d5, c4, e6, knight c3, a6. Aha. Okay, so this a6 is actually a legit thing, this Janowski Queen's Gambit. No idea that was a thing. What is the point of a6? But yeah, I'll wait for Nikola to come back. Welcome back, Nikola. I think you're muted, by the way. I don't know if Nikola can hear me, but yeah, I should just have played rook f1. Things are good. Yeah, I don't hear you, Nikola. If you can hear me, yeah. So yeah, basically in the game, I didn't do this. I played b2, and actually I'm curious to hear Nikola's opinion on one of these moves. So I'll see if he has any hope of returning. But yeah, guys, what a video so far, huh? Like this analysis has been so good, and it's really interesting, right? Like so many of my biggest mistakes are just super easy things to fix. Which, okay, like. No, easy things to fix is the wrong word. Simple things to fix, right? Like they're very simple to put into words, but to actually fix it, okay, we'll see. We'll see if I can turn a leaf. Welcome back, Nikola.
Yeah. Well, I heard the last part you said. I took a small break from it.
Okay. Right.
Well, hopefully we have identified most of the stuff.
Yeah.
And I have given you the tools like how to solve them.
Right.
With the list.
Yeah, with the list, the conscious thinking. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, for the record, though, with this conscious thinking, I actually hate conscious thinking. Like conscious thinking about like interesting things, like beautiful things, like logic things. This is nice. But when it's conscious thinking for like the really simple stuff, like have you remembered to look left and right? Like piss off. Like, I don't want to think about this shit. Like, I want to play some nice
Right.
chess. But okay, I guess it's step by step. You need to learn
Yeah.
to look left and right before you can subconsciously look left and right. And for some reason, I've
Okay.
just forgotten how to subconsciously do these simple things. So, yeah.
Yeah, you just cross the street and you don't care. Yeah,
Well, I look
class.
left and right, but I don't have to think to look left and right. I just do it like naturally. So,
There we go.
there we go.
That's the level we're aiming for.
Learn how to. Yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. So in this position, Nikola, yeah, this rook f1 is at least equalizing because I cut off the king. There's no way for it to join. Okay, maybe I need to be careful of some g4 push. But for sure, I get some counterplay with my pawn. The rook stops the pass pawns. This is where the pieces belong. But instead, I get fixated on a winning idea. So again, my brain is so focused on trying to win positions, not just equalize. So I play b2 with the idea that I wanted to play bishop b3, play rook check, and queen. So playing for these like little tricks.
Mhm.
But now my opponent has to sack, which is correct. And I fail to realize that, oh,
Many
like,
pawns.
if I take with the king, then the bishop is pinned. If I take with the rook's super inactive. So this is, like, really bad. And then in this position, I'm, like, panicking here, like, which square you would put the rook behind. So actually, what's your intuition here?
F1.
F1. So that if the pawn comes to here, we're blockading on the light squares. I didn't do that, I think. Did I not do that? Oh my god. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Like,
But I'm calculating, yeah, rook f1 e6. Because rook f5 is
yes,
7.
exactly, exactly. This is what I was scared of. Exactly. This move. Yeah.
Maybe I should move my king, let's say, to c3, and after e7 to play bishop a4, and bishop f7. And like queen takes on the 5,
So you think in
and
this
to
pos-
hope.
so you're saying king c3 here?
No, rook f1, e6, king c3, and to hope that it's a draw. But I'm not sure.
Aha. Right, right, right. Can I check with engine?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so actually, oh, okay, everything is losing.
Mm.
Okay.
For starters, this is lost. But I'm just interested. Rook f1, e6. Okay, let's say e7. Let's say bishop f4. Queen.
This is
Okay.
the draw. Okay.
Yes. So that's a good save.
Yeah,
It does say rook f8 here, but
yeah, which is nice. But definitely, I can imagine a human just pushing and being
yeah,
careless,
just
so
pushing and yeah.
thinking that it's winning. But actually, how does it win? Because I got a similar endgame. I mean, how does this draw? Because I got a similar endgame, except the difference was that, the difference was I didn't have these pawns. And okay, this makes a huge difference. Like if I can prevent g4,
Yeah,
like
it's
what
not
if king
easy
h3?
because g4, rook f3 check. But
Aha,
also
okay,
your king was cut off on the fourth rank. Now it's on a file.
aha,
So you can
okay,
go back to d7, for example. And again, g4 is very difficult to play.
right, right. Interesting, very interesting. So yeah, in the game, I panicked and then put this way, and then they pushed. And the thing is, this is actually a draw. I don't know if you want to try and find it. Like, it's just a nice move.
It's okay. I'm guessing king c3.
I think it was this. Because this kind of shuts down the pawns. I've never seen this idea before. But it's
And this
difficult.
is popular rook against two pawns, but with literally no other material.
Aha, okay.
Here, mm, king g3. If rook f5, I have e7. I'm guessing king g3, king c3.
Yeah, probably. But
On
then king
e7, I
f4?
have bishop f4. But then king f4, yes.
And
So
then
I don't
king
know.
d4? And then, oh no,
No, the
but then there's
bishop is
rook.
hanging.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know what is the point or the draw. I'll turn on the engine. This is not a draw.
Aha. My memory is wrong.
Yeah, it
Ah,
happens.
so, okay. Ah, maybe it's on the next move. Ah, sorry, on this move. Here.
Ah, yes,
Then,
now it makes more sense.
yeah. And still, I am wrong. Rook e5 is not a draw. It must have been like some... Yeah. So, I can't even use Stockfish. Well, it's a good job I'm not a cheater because I wouldn't be able to read the moves correctly. Yeah, so Rook e3 is the move. Which makes sense. Makes complete
Yeah.
sense. Okay, so I'm glad like we covered this. Otherwise, I would forever be thinking this is like some special motif that draws. But
Yeah, but keep in mind it's popular. Imagine that there is no other material, and
yeah,
that's how you win the pawns
right.
with a move like this. So again,
Uh
no
huh.
other material. This pawn can push, and if this pawn pushes, this pawn is lost.
Yeah. And actually,
Otherwise,
this
you
this is
take
working
that pawn and
except for
go back.
g4. So yeah, this is actually working here as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, that looks quite interesting.
Yeah. Okay, I'll turn off engine now. So yeah, basically here, it's so bad. It's so bad because if you remember 2 rounds ago, I lost this endgame, right? If this is gonna load, I lost the endgame with the H pawn. Okay, it's
Yeah,
not gonna load.
yeah, I remember.
Okay, yeah. Now I've. Oh my god, what have I done? Okay, yeah, we're back.
What did you do?
Yeah, I don't know what I did. Messed something up. Um. Okay. Yeah. So in this position, I even knew that like I'm not synced. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah. So this end game. Okay, just for the viewers, in case they're curious what I'm linking to, right? Like I lost this end game where the king is cut off, the pawn on the h file runs, this king is active, this king is not stopping this pawn, and again I get the same like end game position. Oh yeah, way before this, right? Yeah, and here I just sack and with the hope that it's a draw. And actually, yeah, my opponent finds this really nice rook
Yeah,
e8,
it's a blunder.
but even without this, this is still a loss, I think. Yeah, because my king is too far away.
Mm, yeah, it's lost because of rook d5.
Yeah, and makes this rook passive, and then okay,
Yeah, if your rook was on e5 already, I'm not sure it's lost.
I
Maybe
see,
this
I see.
idea, but I don't know. I think the engine gave a draw in the previous situation like this.
Right, right, right.
Now it's
Interesting.
too
Okay,
passive.
yeah,
Okay,
but yeah, and then now, yeah, I played this,
yeah, now
and
it's really lost. Yeah, with two pawns, two connected
yeah,
passed pawns.
and didn't have any chances. I think I was trying to play for some stalemate hopes or something, but
Yeah, but your king is even like on g2, not on h8. Your
uh
king
huh.
is cut off again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How did my king even get this high up the board? Like,
Surprise.
yeah, how have I done this? Yeah, I don't know.
You went the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, again, yeah, I was supporting a pass pawn, and then I lost my pass pawn, and now my king is misplaced. So I think I need to pick up on this intuition that, okay, you can activate the king and support your pawn, but if you lose the pawn, then your king is probably misplaced.
Yeah, I have a saying, oh, when the pawn structure changes, everything changes. So that
Hmm,
means that, for example, for the whole game, you're focusing on one pawn, you're putting your all efforts to take it, and once you take it, you're a pawn up, but all your pieces may be misplaced.
right.
In this exact position, you were focusing on your b pawn with everything you had, the rook, the bishop, the king. Suddenly, your opponent, she gave up the bishop, and everything turns around. The pieces are misplaced, and suddenly these pawns are rolling.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I like the principle.
something to remember, but okay, that's also a bit more complicated.
Yeah. So, okay, yeah, what to learn from this game? I think definitely I need to remember the basic principles. It's actually unbelievable. I didn't even realize that I was breaking them in any of these games. Like, I've looked at these games briefly, didn't cross my mind. So it's like something that I've completely forgotten to do. But yeah, great that we've covered it because, yeah, I'm gonna, like, yeah, you might feel, Nikola, that okay, how many hours have we done this lesson? I don't even know. But I'll probably play some chess after this because yeah, I want to.
Seriously.
Yeah, I need to improve on this. Like it's actually a joke. It's terrible. So yeah, I'm determined. So yeah,
3 hours chess and more chess.
yeah, of course. Yeah,
Okay, I
yeah.
just want to touch on one more point. Um, if you noticed during this lesson, I didn't care if the engine said like, let's say this move is better, that move is better.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The reason why I didn't care is like I want to find the underlying principle how you get to those moves that you actually do.
Yeah.
That's how I understood about the principles that, for example, you're breaking.
Right.
It doesn't matter if in that position that move was better or winning
Right.
or inaccuracy. Doesn't
Yeah, and
matter.
I think like if I'm not making these beginner errors, then okay, we can just try and understand what the engine's point is. But here, there's enough to try and unpack without going into why the engine suggests some random thing when okay there are like a lot of other very reasonable moves
Yeah,
that I need to be spotting. So
that's not your problem. Yes. So the things that we saw, for example, like the pattern recognition in these games, about the principles, about the tactics that you're not training to 3 movers, let's say
yeah,
before a tournament, because this was still a rapid tournament,
yeah,
um, and playing against your opponents that we saw, especially in the beginning. I'm
yeah,
guessing afterwards they were also more or less balanced opponents.
mm-hmm,
Your problem is not chess wise, more or less. Your
mm,
problem is the thinking process.
right,
You have many things to fix in that area.
mm-hmm.
Hence, my recommendation of the list,
Conscious
conscious
thinking.
thinking about stuff, and 2 3 movers, especially before tournaments.
Yeah, nice. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to analyzing the other games as well. I mean, probably the points are going to be similar. I mean, um, actually, I played my favorite game from the tournament in one of these games. So that was cool. That was a really nice game. But yeah, there was another game where I completely let a good position slip. I also had like a winning position from the opening against a FIDE master and played it wrong, um, which will be interesting to look at. But I think day two I played better chess. Like I made less of these sins, and I don't think I was doing it consciously, just subconsciously, like just from being like, okay, something's going wrong, like I need to think harder or something, and then playing better somehow. But yeah, I think with the actual like now that we've actually put it into words, I think it will be easier to fix. Hopefully. Like I mean, yeah, only time will tell. But I mean, it's also the same with what we've done before, right? Like when I had that tournament where I had 5 games in a row where I didn't play to my strengths in any of the games. And another tournament I remember, I peace harmony was like the constant thing. Like I was playing for plans and none of my pieces were coordinated or in harmony.
Mhm.
And I remember this was just like every game, this was just the same point. And now, okay, we haven't mentioned that at all. So probably it's like slightly better. So
Yeah.
I think like yeah, once you put things into words, then you have like more hope of actually trying to solve it. So yeah, hopefully these things can be solved. And okay, it's a shame that there are even problems, but okay, at least yeah, we're dealing with them. So
But
cool.
okay, your case is better. So first of all is awareness of the things that you need to fix, which is what we discussed.
And Nikola is cut out. Yeah, what a long stream, Lucas. Literally, Nikola's internet is not having any of it. Yeah, yeah, just fix them at least 100 elo higher. Honestly, I agree. I agree. But you see how deep rooted it is, right? Like how like my immediate knee jerk reaction in that first game when I no third game where I messed up my winning London position, when I messed that up, like my immediate reaction was like, oh, I should never have played the principled good chess because now look at where I am, right? I'm so scarred from like making like crappy moves and losing winning positions that I'm even like trying to just play dull positions just to make sure that I have you know, an equal position where I'm not going to be able to lose it, right? Which is crazy. So yeah, all of these things, like they're actually pretty simple. I just fix them and then we'll be good. Welcome back, Nikola. So yeah, I missed yeah, I think you cut just as you were about to make a nice point.
Yes. Yeah. So first thing I do next is fix the internet.
Yes.
Just for sure. Yeah.
You've got your list as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So what was I saying the last?
Oh God. I mean, I was making this point about how like I was making things conscious. One was the piece harmony, one was the piece strength. Now that it's in words, more chance of fixing it. And you were saying like it's good that you're aware of these mistakes. That's the first thing, and then I think you cut out then.
Yeah, so first thing is awareness, which you already discussed. The second thing is how to fix them and how to fix all the stuff we discussed. I also told you the list, being conscious about that. And the last thing, the last part of the chess improvement is up to you. So you need to play games, tournaments, where you can use these things that we discussed, put them into practice.
Uh huh.
That's how you'll become a better player. And yes, by the way, I'm still here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The good thing for you is because you already know this stuff, you just need to put them like in front of your mind, like they should come first.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's the good thing. You don't need to learn them, you just need to prioritize them in your mind, in your intuition. They're still there somewhere. So
Right.
that's a very good case for you, which why you can probably advance quickly once you implement this stuff in your thinking process.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's funny. Someone else in chat said, "Just fix them, and then you'll be 100 elo higher at least," which is probably true.
Actually, yeah, does make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Because yeah, I mean, like most of the moves that I was missing, like yeah, they're just like simple moves. It's not like a hard move that I'm having to miss. So I'm getting good positions, and then just missing simple moves. So okay, find the simple moves, you win the games.
Yeah, and you know the simple moves. You just need to find a way in your mind how to get to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, well, day one
Okay.
complete. Appreciate it a lot, Nikola. Actually, do you have time for one final thing? Little thing?
Yeah, sure.
So I was playing a student of mine, and it was funny because this was like a middle game position. So imagine lots of pieces on the board, and we were discussing the pawn structure, and I was trying to make a point that this isolated pawn is weak. Now, of course, I could have made a better point by leaving the rooks and queens on the board, but I thought this would be already enough for me to be able to prove that I can win this with white. And this is how
Mm.
the game went. So I think King F8 for starters is like inaccurate because King G7 is a faster route
Wait.
to the center. Yeah.
Where are you moving? I don't see anything.
Ah.
Wait, I'm not synced on the status.
I
Okay,
see.
now I am.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this was the position. Originally, loads of pieces on the board, but I was trying to get my student to recognize that yeah, this is a pawn structure weakness, and he was arguing that it's like a strength. So I was like, okay, I want to show a position where I can make sure to show that it's a weakness, right? So I
Hmm.
probably, in hindsight, should have kept the rooks and the queens on to make it even bigger point how this pawn will just be lost. But I thought a pawn endgame will
Target.
be enough. So okay, we decided to play. I said afterwards that King G7 was probably better because it's a faster route to the center. And
Mm.
this kind of gives me time to maybe play E3. F5 is like, yeah, wrong move right now. Like the king is not active. But this is what
Take
happened.
more of it.
So I thought that I have like this solid position. He plays G5. I decide to activate my king more. And we get this position here. And I play H5 with the ambition that, yeah, maybe this disconnects this pawn. Okay, maybe this is weak, but I felt like the king would never be able to go over and grab it. Maybe this is wrong of me. But he
Right.
then started pushing the pawns. And I always thought that in pawn endgames, you don't want to push the pawns because they become weak. That's what I had in mind. But in this position, I just allowed him to push because I was thinking that, yeah, like if let's say in this position he pushes more, then I feel like I've got something. Like I've got potential to maybe come in, like something like this. Maybe I can Zugzwang him, right? And then he's got like some weaknesses. So I thought this was good. But then he plays King E5. I play king d3. He plays b5. And then he plays a4. And I'm suddenly like, wait a sec, like this is actually really bad. And in this position,
You can actually lose
here,
this.
I am dead lost. In this position, had he played d4, I'm lost. Because now he's gotten rid of his weak pawn, he has an active king, and I'm losing. And okay, in the game, like it went like this, and it was a draw. And yeah, his point was like, okay, yeah, I drew this. Where was the weak pawn? And I was like, okay, this is more than just drawing. You're actually winning, even with d4. So I want.
So what went wrong?
What went wrong? I think probably then in this position, I was too fixated on my opponent pushing these pawns to make more weaknesses. And in doing so, I even weakened my king and allowed his king to get active. So probably, okay, I didn't realize this at the time. This is why I added it to the study. But for me, probably then I should just play a4 here. Just limit his moves. I keep a reserve tempo. And okay, probably it's... but I'm going to run out of moves. I don't have a way. Like, black can always stay ready to come in.
Okay,
Yeah, so I don't
there
know.
are actually a lot of things to note here, not
Oh,
not
really?
just one.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I will start from here. This is about corresponding squares. So when black steps on e5, you should step on d3. So black doesn't have any progress. He doesn't have king e4.
I see. Ah, of course.
What I mean,
Yeah.
after king e6, if you play king d3, king e5, you have to step away, and he plays king e4.
Yep.
So I will be careful when he steps on e5. I should be able to step on d3,
Yes.
corresponding squares. So that means I will play on the other square. After king e5, I'll step king d3.
Right.
If here he plays king d6, I'll play king d4. Not king d3, because after king e5,
King
there is
e5.
king
Yeah.
d4 next.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Now there is this extra tempo to be careful of, to be mindful of, but just to explain the corresponding squares.
Sure.
Next, pushing the pawns depends how much pushing and what exactly. b6 is very useful because it takes away this c5 square.
True.
After like what happened in the game, just to show you an example, if this position happened, you're winning.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is the opposition part, because once the king moves, you will go either to c5 or e5.
Right.
That means that black will run out of moves. After b4, let's say b3. You enter with the king and hopefully pick up some pawns. It's
Yeah.
not even clear that will happen, but hopefully.
Right.
So you're on the winning side. At least you're playing for winning.
Yeah.
Next, be careful when you make this pawn structure, because let's make an example. Eventually, if there are no pawns on the king side, sorry, on the queen side, this is a stalemate.
Oh, wow. Yeah, nowhere near.
Yeah,
Didn't even
surprise.
consider this. I remember even looking at it in Dvoretsky. Like, this
Yeah,
the
it is in
stalemate idea.
Dvoretsky's
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once these pawns are completely blocked on the queen side, black
Oh,
can
my
maybe even
days.
give up the d5 pawn, go for the h5 pawn, well, you cannot take on f5.
Yeah, right.
But in this case, you will probably go towards the other side and win this, regardless of how they're blocked.
Yeah.
Now, going back even further. Yeah, we're not done.
Yep.
So, there is a principle of one weakness and two weaknesses.
Uh-huh.
With one weakness, it's holdable. With two weaknesses, it's not.
Right.
Now, this principle is applied to most of the cases. So here, there is only one weakness, so it is likely that black can hold.
Sure.
Of course, precision is needed, but still, that is the rule, that is the case.
Yeah.
With some pieces on the board, you can provoke a second weakness. Well, it's easier to do that.
Right.
In this case, well, not so much. You can
Right.
only hope the opponent does it for you.
Yeah, I guess like in the situation of like having major pieces on the board like rooks and queens, I guess like the isolated pawn could be a weakness. Okay, maybe the queen and rook can attack something else, but even without that, just the rooks and queens on the defensive versus the rooks and queens on the aggressive, there'd probably be like some e4 push. So not only is the pawn weak, but also the vulnerability of the pieces behind. Like there's more weaknesses, not just the pawn. So yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. Yeah.
yeah, that is a good point. But it will be the same principle also if nothing else works. You're saying about a tactical idea.
Hmm.
I'm saying about overall the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Because tactical idea like happens 1 in 10 games. The overall plan that you should do happens 9 out of 10 games.
Mm-hmm.
So you activate the king. H4 is not a move that I will consider until I have activated my king.
Uh-huh. I
Once I
think I
take
was
over this
worried
hand,
about this pawn being weak. Like if black can get g4 and like somehow come in one day. This is
yeah,
my
after
fear.
g5, g4 becomes a threat, so I will play h3 or h4, depends.
Aha. Okay.
But okay, I understand your reasoning,
Mm-hmm.
so h4 is quite good in that regard. But prioritize the king also.
Right.
So there goes king to d3. Black should also have played something like king c5 or king e5.
Yeah.
Same reason here. Yeah, this is okay. Okay, also fine. And yeah, at the end, what you do basically also here is you allow king activity for no reason.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
so
So yeah.
focused.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to say this and then we'll finish. You're so focused on winning that you're doing some non-objective stuff
Mm-hmm.
and then you can even lose. And that has quite often happened to you. You lose.
Right. Right.
I think that happened in one of these games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Which one? Um. Yeah, it happened in one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, it was at least with the two rooks and bishop, but it was something else also, I think, in addition to that.
Uh-huh.
So don't lose your objectivity. That's one thing to do.
Yeah, like one of the games where I allowed them to win a piece. I literally saw it. That's probably even a third one. But you remember I took the knight on c6 and they came down and gave a check. I blocked with queen f1 and they played queen c2.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So like yeah, not being objective just because I'm trying to, I don't know, play for a win and hope they miss a move. Like it's yeah.
Yeah,
But I guess like this with king c3, if it doesn't risk losing because I've understood that these are corresponding squares, then maybe it's worth trying. But only if I understand that, because here I clearly didn't, and then I went on to
yeah,
get a losing position. So, and that's the problem. Like sometimes I try to win before I even know if I'm even risking losing, and this is something that needs to be fixed, and I've done it so many times. So you're completely right that this has happened many times. So yeah, if I understand that this is corresponding, then I can try and play for this trick. And here, then this is fine. But then I need to make sure that I'm not losing in this like tempo race. Like probably, actually, I'm kind of screwed because if I play a3, they play a4. If I play b3, they play b4. And I didn't understand this at the time.
mhm.
So yeah, king d3 is yes. I need to keep the king on d4. Yeah. Crazy, crazy. Or at least maybe like stick their pawns, get their pawns. But I want them to push. I
Yeah.
want them to push. So maybe a3 now is bad. b3. This is the move.
B3 gives the opponent most chances to make a mistake. You should
Yeah.
probably play king e6 at this point
Right. Right.
to keep the status equal.
Yeah. And then if they play a move like this, let me think what I should play here. Because it's not easy to just like fix the pawns and make it black's move. Or is it? Maybe it is. Maybe I can just play this.
Yeah, not
Yep.
that difficult after all.
Yeah. But okay, that's cool. Like I really wasn't understanding this end game at all. I was super confused how I was like losing this, and yeah, it's actually all just Duretsky's pawn endgames which we've studied and I know. So that's at least the nice thing. Like, okay, you mentioned these corresponding squares, like all of this, it's like I know all of this, so it's not like I don't know it. So this is nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, Michael.
Okay, well, thank you for sticking by for this whole stream. And yeah, hopefully,
Please.
I don't know when like we can have time for day two, but maybe at some point we'll discuss.
Yeah, we'll discuss it
And
further.
one more thing I want to say is like, I hope you guys who have watched. Okay, I see there are 3 viewers left in chat, like have struggled to the very end. But any
11, 10, 9, 8.
yeah, I mean you say this every time, Nikola, but I'm like the only crazy one enough to like keep training. And yeah, probably you're right, but yeah, like I wanted to make the point that it's really interesting to see the difference in strength between like a 2400 and a 2000. And okay, in this case, it looks even more big because I'm not making 2000 elo mistakes. I'm making like 1500 elo mistakes. But yeah, it shows that like, okay, like the 2400, they understand like what basics need to be kept, like which principles cannot be forgotten, and the difficult stuff as well. So yeah, it's just really nice for me and refreshing to see like, yeah, this is the difference. It's not like Nikola was like finding this like bishop e6 move in that one position like instantly or something like this. Like he said it didn't even cross his mind, even though it was Engine's top move. So the point is, it's not like, yeah, it's not like these strong players just find the Engine moves instantly. No, it's like they understand the principles, they understand like certain concepts. They're just quicker, they're just faster, they're seeing the tactics. It's just like all of these things, and I think it's just, yeah, really evident from this. And I see Nikola has frozen several seconds ago. But yeah, just to reiterate, that yeah, if you have enjoyed the stream, and firstly give it a thumbs up because like support this stream, but also yeah, feel free to get in contact with Nikola for lessons if you are interested, because Nikola's absolutely fantastic coach, and yeah, well worth doing. So yeah, welcome back, Nikola. Hopefully, yeah, we'll have the internet sorted and my chess will also be better, so we can have less repetitive conversations in our analysis. Um,
I will definitely fix the internet next. I didn't hear the last 10, 15 seconds,
no problem.
but
Like, yeah, just summarizing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, until from what I heard, this is a very good case for you because if you fix these mistakes, which are quite simple as you saw, like, yeah, maybe I'm on 2400, but uh, the stuff the stuff that were discussed are simple. There is nothing scientific here that's
yeah,
like I figured out and you didn't. No,
right.
it was actually very simple. Even 1200 stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
fix those, implement them in your thinking process. You're good to go.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Like, you know what? I'm kind of more excited to play this Norway tournament because yeah, like I want to have this chance to like try and play some better chess. So yeah, this will be good.
It's a good opportunity.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you everyone
Okay.
for tuning in, and okay, I think
Thank you.
we'll call it a day. Great.
Okay. Bye bye.